Hello, Internet! Don't let the overlay fool you, because it's not August 26th, it is September 2nd. And this is the Park Bench, episode 14. I'm CParks.
And I'm Golden Rose K.
And you're back.
I'm back.
You're back.
I was on vacation in a lake, as I think you said.
Out in the middle of a lake is what I said.
In the exact middle of the lake. Mm-hmm. And in that middle of the lake, I relaxed, drank a lot, played a lot of video games, read a couple books, and swam.
Did you find
watched a bunch of movies.
Jason?
Did everything.
Voorhees.
Did I find Jason Voorhees? In so much that I did not, actually.
No, you didn't.
Okay. No, he wasn't there. He didn't decide to show up. It was really disappointing for all of us. We invited him, but never.
Not enough sex going on, I guess.
Yeah.
Not enough teenage sex.
Could have been more. No, I take that back. No, you can't. I'm old now. That's not a great joke.
Anyways, so you're back now. I think you mentioned you got to, play some board games and stuff while you were out there.
Yeah.
But you've played some games since you've been back.
Yeah, I played a bunch of games on Sunday night and yesterday. Mm-hmm. Getting ready for the show. There was a moment where, because spoilers, you're going to talk about Sonic Cross Worlds Racing.
Sure am.
And I Sunday midday was like, I could download it for a day and a half and play it. But then I was like, well, I have nothing to talk about. Like, I don't have a whole topic. So I was like, I want to play these demos, and I'll have Chris sell me on Crossworlds. / I watched a couple people play it. So
yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. A lot of my game play in the last week, I think, will be mentioned in this show. I think, other than the typical Peak and or Fortnite with the wife and or her friends and sister and whatnot.
Game I did play for the first time in that same vein was Sunday night. I played Repo for the first time.
Oh, that was the first time you played it. Okay.
Yeah, I got asked by a friend of friend Ashley Nader, streamer, to stream some Repo with her son, and our friend Alex. And that game is pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It's it's like the same kind of Lethal Company, but with a slightly more cartoonish vibe to it.
Yep.
It feels more cooperative than Lethal Company does.
Okay. I like that.
Because it really wants you to stick together and kind of plan your routes, whereas Lethal Company is everybody go in different directions and do your gosh darn best to come back. Where Repo is very much all right, so look out, person driving the cart, person looking out in a different direction. It's very much of way more communication, way more hey, everybody hide kind of thing.
Okay, that's cool. I like that. I like the aesthetic of both of them. They're kind of similar-ish, but like you said, Repo a little more cartoony almost. From the last I saw, which has been a while now, was that the person making Lethal Company, because I think that was a one-person show, was burning out on making stuff for the game. Whereas Repo had a small team, who was like more dedicated to like keep making updates. So uh I think for the most part I think Repo kind of took over Lethal Company's blaze
Hmm.
anyway, but uh yeah, seems like it'll just like keep its whatever momentum it has left. Um it's also, I think that type of game, if you're a small company and if you just keep adding stuff to it, I think it's one of those games where like after, X amount of updates, people are going to want to come back and be like, oh, look at all the stuff they added. And now it feels like very fresh and different and new rather than, you know, here's a new item. It's like, oh, here's a new place and item and enemies. And I don't know what's going on anymore. Um,
Yeah, and I also think like a game like that, working with like a group is a lot. It probably is a lot better, just like to avoid that burnout. Because I can see like kind of like the amount of changes and stuff that you would have to work on for such a like a small reward for the amount of work you have to put into it
yeah.
might be like draining as a singular developer. But when you're like have even a small team, you have multiple people, you just have like the camaraderie of work, like you're working together and trying to like brainstorm. But also one person can be doing this, one person can be doing that, and it comes together in something more than what both of you did probably feels better.
Yeah, you're both spreading the workload, you spread the pressure of it all rather
Hmm.
than like working on a game by yourself that got so big like Lethal Company did. Like you take on all the pressure for any fixes or updates or whatever. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough being a solo dev.
Hmm.
Let's see what else. I'm trying to remember what else I played. Um, that like wasn't part of the show, but I think it's all just gonna be like talked about in here. One thing that I wanted to bring up, it was from last week, and it's because I mentioned Jason Voorhees to you at the top of the show. Um, did you see the Halloween game?
Yeah.
And it's
I don't trust that team at
it's
all.
it's made, yeah, made by the guys who did. I liked the Friday the 13th game.
Hmm.
I liked that game. It came out, I believe, around the same time Dead by Daylight came out, and I was standing by. I was like, I like Friday the 13th more. Um,
Hmm.
and then they had whatever like IP legal battles
Yeah.
for that that ended it. But then yeah, since then what it was like they made the Predator game. Um they made like the Killer Clowns game, and then they made, there was another one that I can't remember.
I know there's the Evil Dead one. Did they make that one,
Nope,
or is that a different
that's a
studio?
different.
There's also, is there a Blair Witch one? That might be a different even type of game. Trying to remember all of these horror franchises.
Yeah.
Somebody is making that Hellraiser game that's gonna maybe push AO. I heard.
Oh, great.
Uh, yeah.
I guess it's more, it's easier to push that in this time, right?
Hmm.
Because like most people are just buying that, are just going to buy that game digitally. You don't got to worry about GameStop not carrying your adult only game.
Hmm.
Um, but anyways, what are
Yeah.
we talking about this week? We're talking about
Because
the games that I played that are unreleased. Uh,
you went to Penny Arcade Expo
yes,
West.
West, the West version, the original version, Penny Arcade West. Um, and then you played some demos also.
Demos that you could have played at PAX West and
Mm-hmm.
just didn't get around to.
Mm-hmm.
And so but they have a small on Steam. I guess is my I got there in a weird way. On Steam, you can play some of these Penny Arcade demos from your home.
Yep. Um, and then we're gonna talk about Silk Song because that's out in 2 days. And I
Yeah, it
guess
is.
yeah, just talk about Silk Song and like how can this game live up to the hype that is built up around it. Uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
we'll discuss, aging out of genres or,
Yeah, and I
genres.
don't mean just being like I don't play edutainment games anymore.
Yeah, I'm not into number crunchers anymore.
Yeah, Mario is no longer missing.
No, just yeah, like game genres that like, just as life changes, just like, like, oh, I'm not really into that, or it doesn't fit my lifestyle anymore, or whatever. Um, and then we've got some like how do I put it, like, because like editorial segments today, right?
Mhm.
Is A Link to the Past a Metroidvania?
And
And then we're gonna pitch how we think a Chow game could or should be made.
we're finally gonna get to it this time, I swear.
Promise. Unless we go long, then who knows? But we'll just push it off till next week. Um, yeah. So, anyways, I played games.
You
Um,
did.
I played a lot of games at PAX,
Hmm.
and then I played um a couple games that are just like Sonic Cross Worlds, which wasn't at PAX, but I had a open network test during the same weekend as PAX. Um, and then I played another game that I've just been like wanting to play. It's just on Steam. Um, but I'll start off, I guess, with um Sonic Cross Worlds, where
Yeah, the big one.
it it had an open network test. Anyone could play. Anyone could get in play, and it was on, I think, everything. It was on Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch. I think Switch 2. I don't know if it was Switch 1, but it was on Switch 2, PS5, Xbox Series, Steam. And it was cross-platform, cross, all that stuff. Um, you got in, you could play a Grand Prix. You had to play one Grand Prix before you could go online. Grand Prix was 3 different races, and then a fourth race, which was all 3 of those races in one race. Um, and that is because of this Crossworlds mechanic, where you finish a lap and there's a ring that pops up and you go to a different track for a little bit, and then you pop out and you go back to the original track. Um, and then the way that fourth race in the Grand Prix works is just you do a lap, the ring pops up, you go to the next track, a ring pops up, you go to the next track. Which is neat. It's a cool way to do that, I guess.
What I find interesting about it is that like it kind of takes away from like the dedicated like these tracks go together kind of thing almost. Because I remember I was watching y'all play it last night and the day before, like just having the random track that you could
Mm-hmm.
like go into it feels like it's really interesting to me because of how not curated it seems to be. Like I think if I'm understanding you correctly, like there are in a Grand Prix, there are a couple tracks that you do hit at least for a little bit before you start slipping into other dimensions or whatever, other cross worlds.
It's basically like you start. So there are, be like, well, something like 20. There's like something around 20 tracks in the full release game, right? I'll just say
Hmm.
20. And then the cross worlds also have its own set of tracks. Like I think there's like something like 9 cross worlds which only appear as a cross world. It's not like a track. And the way it works is like you start on a track. That's your first lap. When you get through that first lap, the cross world ring comes up. You go into a cross world for um a lap, basically. And usually the cross worlds, the way they work is similar to like I mean it's I want to say it's similar to like a straightaway track from like Mario Kart
Hmm.
World. A lot of times that's the way the map looks. I guess it doesn't really matter if it's only one lap anyway, because you're not making a loop regardless. But then after you come out the other end of that cross world, you jump back into the original uh track.
Okay.
And then do another loop around that. Um and then basically, yeah, that fourth Grand Prix is just, instead of going to the crossworlds, you just go to the next track for a lap, and then the next track for a lap.
So
Um,
is this like I guess like the starting area like for a Grand Prix for 4 tracks always the same? Like for like one Grand Prix and then another Grand Prix is a different starting for or whatever or
no, it's a different. So it's like track one is like Metal Harbor,
hmm
uh, and then within Metal Harbor you go to a crossworld, which can be a variety of different things, and then track two will be um Mystic Cave or whatever.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. I guess like what I was asking is like it does like is one Grand Prix like Grand Prix number one. I don't even know if this is how it formulates it, but is Grand Prix number one always like Metal Harbor into Mystic Cave?
Yeah. So it's like first
Okay, okay, cool.
it's like the
Yeah.
first track is always Metal Harbor with a
hmm
random crossworld. The
Got it.
second race is Mystic Cave with a random crossworld. Track 3 is some garden level with a random
hmm
crossworld. And then track 4 is Metal Harbor into Mystic Cave into the garden level.
Okay, cool. I just feel like so there is something curated about
A
that,
little
which
bit,
is very
yeah. It's just the crossworlds are what like changes things up a bit. And then also what you saw in the Grand Prix in this was like the rivals system,
hmm
which, the big thing with that is all the dialogue between characters. That's what has people hyped about that system, is like there's a lot of like dialogue that they've created, around rivals for characters that have like never spoken before. So like
Yeah,
a lot of people think that's really cool. Um
like Vector and Sage.
yeah, and that's fine. It's nice extra flavor, I guess. Um, and then after you do the Grand Prix, you can hop online. This network test had a ranking system. Um, the better you place, the more points you got. Once you got really, really high, it was, you gained less points and you could start losing points. And then you could also go through some machine customization. They call them machines, and this just like an Kirby Air Ride. They didn't call them carts.
hmm
Um, you customize your machine, front end, back end. You could choose, and then you could like do some decals and stuff on them. And one thing about this game, it has a giant character roster. Um, but I think your gameplay wages more on the machine you're driving rather than the character you choose.
Okay.
The characters do have their own different stats. They just affect your stats less than the cart does. Um,
Okay.
which is cool. I think it helps make people enjoy playing the character that they want to enjoy, rather than being like maybe in like Mario Kart, being like, man, I really, really love Bowser, but I'm just not good as a heavy, so I play Baby Mario instead. In this game,
hmm
it is I think, much easier to be like, I love Zaz, um, and I'm going to use him no matter what, and I'll still be able to do well with him because I'll just pick a cart that fits my playstyle more. Um, and yeah, I don't know. The customization's deep. It's cool. Um, changing colors, changing the material is interesting. Like you can have a car or extreme gear, um, and each like different part that you can color, you can change to be like metallic or glossy or
Oh, okay. Yeah, that gives
rubbery.
you
Um,
way more
yeah,
direct control over what it looks like.
so it's
And
cool.
that's for like every machine type too, like acceleration, whatever.
Yep, yeah, power,
Mm.
acceleration, speed, boost. Um, The extreme gear, they're small. They're just little boards, so it like feels like there's less customization you can do there with like decals and whatnot. Also seem like potentially the strongest machine type to use.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Like everyone used was those extreme, like the boost types or whatever.
Part of it, I think, was just because a lot of people were just really excited to use extreme gear.
Mhm.
Um, Part of it is, I think, was, I mean, they're also, I think they're good, and I think they're more fun than the carts because in like kart racers, it's fun to boost,
Mhm.
and so the extreme gears are good at boosting, you know, um, and boosting is just good in general in carts. So like, I think they're just like by nature, just like in this demo, at least this tech demo, we're just the best, and people are most excited for it. Um, Overall, the game is fun. It's more arcadey feeling
Mhm.
than Mario Kart. Um, it is chaotic with a C,
Not
not
as
an
chaotic.
X. Nope, no, chaotic, not chaotics. The chaotics are here, but it is hectic and chaotic, and um, it's fun. I guess there are things about it where like I worry for like long term health, just like in any kart racer, really. Like the items,
Mhm.
um, there's a lot of items, and there's a lot of them that really mess you up. And like you know, I played some, and I watched a lot of like Thank You Domo playing. And one of the things that he mentions about the items is that there's a lot of red shell items in this game, which is true. There's just like
Okay.
there's a number of items that you get, and you just lock on and target somebody, and it just homes in and it hits them, you know. Um which can be frustrating for people for sure, to just like you're not just seeing items fly around, you're getting hit by them. Um so I don't there's some defensive mechanics in the game. There's an item that's just a shield, you know. Um some items you can boost away from. Um, but then there's some like there's a buzz saw that just cuts your cart in half, and like you see it appear next to uh your machine, and it's
Mhm.
spinning, and then it just comes by and cuts you. And unless you get invulnerability, you don't outrun it or anything. Like
Yeah, it's just like it's
it's gonna get you.
unavoidable.
Um, so yeah, I I think part of what helps mitigate that is it's like its drift system. Uh, you can get like a level 1 drift pretty quickly and easily to like get you going again. Um, but for all like the chaos that's in it, I think it has some like there's definitely a skill level to it. Uh, because I played the first couple days and did fine. Won some games, was in the top of like the 12 player races. Took a few days off because of PAX and whatnot, and then got back in at the end. And I was playing with Domo, who was legend rank. So we were playing with other people who were legend ranks, and I was not doing
Mhm.
good. Uh,
That's one of the things. Like when I was watching him, that was like kind of made me a little bit apprehensive. I'm like, the barrier of like at the top, like it does seem like really technical with like what you have to do. And I was like, I don't know if I have that dog in me anymore to like really grind out
yeah,
uh like a new type of kart racer, like a more like and even like a just like a game in general, a competitive game that doesn't like sing to me.
yeah. One of the things about this that I like that is similar to my feelings with like Disney Speedstorm is just like how quick a race is. It's easy and it's fast to just like get in a couple races and get out. Um, which I think kind of helps that where it's like you don't have to actually dedicate a lot of time to play like 5 races. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, the people who were good, like they grinded. Like I saw people with like 80 hours put in this game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Real quick,
Hmm?
speaking of like you saying like how quick to get in and out, I've never realized like how much I do value that in a racing game. I over this vacation, um I played through, I don't know, everybody was like really shocked I knew how to play it. They made me play through the whole first circuit of episode 1 Pod Racer.
Okay.
um which is a game that I learned how to play really well as a teenager. Um and the final courses of that first circuit, like, and that's not even like the super advanced courses in the game, are like 2 minutes at minimum a lap. And so like you're spending 6 minutes on one singular course. And then like everyone would be like, wow, this is just so long. And because that's not an item based game,
Yeah.
that there's like not a lot of interactivity happening with like the other racers other than like if one catches up and there's some bumping
Hmm.
because like it has like a ship degradation mechanics, but like it was just like a lot of just me being in front and like not really interacting with anything. And they're like, wow, like this is kind of boring when you're good at the game. And I'm like, yeah. Like
Yeah.
it's still a
Yeah.
racing game. I still have to do like some like kind of neat little mechanics and
Yeah.
learn how to like
Still
really play it. But still,
keeping lines and whatnot. Yeah.
yeah, it's 6 minutes though for one course was like, I'm like, that's not like how it is anymore. It doesn't feel like
No.
this that fast.
Yeah. This game and both Speedstorm are like, if you hit 3 minutes on a race, it's a long race.
Hmm.
um. Yeah. Yeah. One thing in this also, uh, is in comparison to like Speedstorm, at least, because there's more people in this in Sonic Racing, uh, there are more items going around. And then also Speedstorm just has a smaller item pool in general. Um, so yeah, this compared to like Pod Racer, which you were just saying, gotta be night and day
Hmm.
because it's
Yeah.
so much more hectic and fast, and there's a lot going on. Um, but it's good. There's going to be another demo before the full release. Um, sometime mid September is what they said. So,
Yeah, I'll
you
try
know,
to jump into that one.
yeah, I think the Grand Prix stuff is good enough to play and time
Hmm.
trials.
Where's
Um,
Mighty and Ray though? They got gosh darn Zaz.
it's
Whatever,
true.
but no Mighty and Ray
The
or
network
Fang.
test didn't have a lot of, or didn't have a large majority of the cast. Um, but when the game launches, it'll have a fairly big cast. They've already done their announcements of like some of their
Mm,
paid
that,
DLC.
yeah, and I saw that there's the Prime pack too with the. I've never watched an episode of Sonic Prime, but I
There is,
know
yeah,
I've seen those characters
I think with
around.
like the special edition, you get some Prime. I don't know if they're skins or if
Hmm.
they're characters. Um, but yeah, you'll be able to get some of the Prime characters, and they also did say that they will be adding more Sonic characters to the game,
Cool,
and when they
cool.
do, those are free characters. The only paid characters
Oh,
are like the Crossworld characters.
no. When are
Um,
they adding Elise?
great question. I don't know. I'll contact my
I want their
guy.
rival. I want their rival conversation, Sonic and Elise, being like, "That was a weird dream I had."
Yeah. Yeah. Or Elise and Amy or something talking to each
Yeah.
other. Anyway, next game I played. This will be the last one of this batch that I think I really get a little deeper into. Um,
Hmm.
was Kirby Air Riders. Um,
Wee.
which I got some gameplay of that I'll just throw on. But this
Wee.
gameplay that I have on is from Gamescom. I'm assuming it's the same demo that was at uh PAX. But
Yeah,
this
I can't imagine it's not.
I played this at PAX.
Ooh, can I
Um
pause right before you get into it?
yeah.
Did PAX have one of those like really cool themed Nintendo booths, or was it just like the standard red?
So there were two booths and
Hmm.
they were both like standard red. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, when I went a couple years ago, uh, there was like a cool Animal Crossing like scenery
Yeah,
set up,
yeah.
and nope, this was basically just like there were two booths close-ish to each other, and it was just kind of like red. There's TVs and there's some banners that say Kirby or Pokemon ZA on it.
Mhm.
um, Nothing too fancy, but
Nothing too special.
yeah,
It's
but
a shame. I like it when they put the extra like work into that,
I
but
agree. And uh, this was my first PAX West, and maybe at the end of this, I'll have a quick like thought on PAX West versus PAX East. But yeah, I played Kirby Air Riders. Um, the line, the wait time to get in there was like surprisingly short, which was like surprising based on like how many people wanted to play it. Um, so good on Nintendo
Mhm.
for getting through everyone. Um, the way it worked is I
You
went
didn't
in
play City Red? Oh,
City
you're telling
Trials.
me. I don't need that. I'm not gonna jump. Yeah, City
I
Trials. Okay, continue.
first
Sorry, I'm cutting you off.
first you would so like you would be in a group of four, and
Mhm.
everyone first would go through a couple tutorials. They would instruct you, be like, all right, do tutorial 3 and 4. You do those, and they're like, all right, now back out, go to tutorial 8, and So we all did some tutorials, learned the basics of the game, and then connected to each other for 2 city trials. 5 minutes,
Mhm.
choose our characters. It seemed like it, full experience, like full character lists, everything that you would
Who'd you
get.
play as?
First game I played as Gooey,
Okay.
and then the second game I played as the big duck DDD.
Hell yeah, that's my guy.
Um, and yeah, this game is also fast and chaotic and hectic. Um, I played some City Trials, a very very little bit of the original one. Um, and that's only 4 players, correct?
Mhm.
Whereas this is
Yes.
16.
Mhm.
It is a bigger map, so there were times where I found myself just kind of like off on my own, doing what I want, breaking boxes open and stuff. Um, but with the events that like spawn, um, when it gets everyone together,
Yeah.
it's hectic. There's a lot of people just like flying around. Towards the end of it, you're going like real fast. You've collected a lot of speed upgrades, and there are points in the game where you're just like, I don't know if I can control what's happening right now. Somebody please hit me. um, because my momentum is out of control. But it was fun. It was cool. I can see like in the direct Sakurai basically says he's like, yeah, you don't want to try to get too much of stuff because then like you can't control yourself or whatever. So like I did start to see some uh strategy involved with being like, okay, I've got a couple minutes left. Um, I don't need to focus on my weight anymore. I've done that enough. Like,
Mhm.
just ignore that and just move on. I wasn't playing that way. I was just collecting whatever I saw, which is like how most people will play. Um, but it did in the first game specifically create some instances where I was like, I can't control what's happening anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
like this is all gonna fall apart.
yeah, like
You
I'm,
get the wrong type of event, right?
yeah. But then you get, the time up, and then you vote on one of 4 events. Um, which we kind of said this during the like after the direct happened. I do think it's cool because it just helps you feel like in more control of your destiny
Hmm.
rather than just being like, oh man, I created this cart. I'm so slow, but I'm so tanky. And then being like, here's the flying game now. And you're like, all right, well, I lose. I just lose. Um, where in this, you can choose like your where you're gonna go into, which like at least having some control over it at that point then makes you feel like, well, I tried. If you lose,
What were the two events that you got to play?
uh, I did actually I did Dust Up Derby both times
Okay.
at the end. So the first game with Gooey, I could have done Dust Up Derby or one of the racing ones. I can't remember as my like recommended ones.
Hmm.
Um, and I chose Dust Up Derby just cause I was just like, I don't know, let me do this instead of just like racing. Basically, was my thought. I was like, let me try to do like some combat in this. I know what racing is. Um, and then the second time around with King DDD, I was just like very set up for a Dust Up Derby. So I was like, well, I guess I'll just go back to Dust Up Derby because like maybe I'll win this time. And I didn't. I didn't win. I got like I did worse with like yeah. But yeah, it was fun. I I liked the 5 minutes because it just makes it fun to like get in, get out, and like try out different carts and builds and game like mini games at the end. Um, but it like it didn't. I think there's a world where friends get together and do that for like 10 minutes instead of 5 minutes and have a better time for more chaos if that's an
Yeah.
option. I think it is. Um, but yeah, it's cool because it's just like it's a cart game that's very fast and chaotic, like Sonic Crossworlds, but fits like a very different like style of game, I guess.
Hmm.
Like
Did
it,
playing it make you more likely to pick it up, do you think? Or
it didn't make me less. I'll say that, I
okay.
guess. If anything, maybe a little bit more. Yeah. 'Cause it was fun. It's it's weird though because I do feel like I mean everything with my game play with this felt like it was straight from the GameCube era. Um it didn't it like there was nothing about it that I was like, "Oh, this feels more modern than Kirby Air Riders." It just visually obviously it looks better, but like everything else just like feels like that time period.
Okay.
Um but with that, I also think that this game absolutely benefits from like local play. Like
Hmm.
I think just yeah, playing this game with friends is like the way that like I think most people would want to play this rather than hopping online solo and just like it's fine. It's still fun.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um
that's like when I think about this game, I think about it like as only a local co-op or like local
just like
like
party game.
multiplayer party game. Like I can't imagine just in the same way that like I can't imagine why people jump on Mario Party online against other people. Like
Like
it just
yeah,
boggles my brain. I don't get it. Why do you do that?
why do you just play
You don't have
randoms?
friends? I've become really mean. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Um I think one of the things for this game that would help its staying power is if the racing is also fun and good. Um as a break from city trials. Uh because yeah, like it's kind of like the Mario Kart World thing where like Mario Kart World has its Grand Prix stuff, it has its knockout tour, which is like still racing but a little different. Or you can just casually do stuff in the overworld. And like having those different things to do is, I think, what helps keep people in the game longer. Um, Whereas like if you're only playing City Trials and Kirby Air Riders, like you have to be so dedicated to this game because it's only one map. You know, there's only one City Trial map, so like there's got to be more juice in it somewhere for me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like the City Trials is fun. So
Cool.
yeah,
I'm glad to hear that. I kind of like, I had faith that Sakurai would make the game fun.
yeah, it's good.
I'm glad to
It's
hear that.
fun. Feels good. Um, I'm curious to see how it sells and how it like reviews after and people's thoughts. But yeah, we'll see where
Mm.
like Kirby Air Riders is like 6 months after it comes out. Um, what else?
Yeah.
What else did I play? What's next on here? Whoop.
PUBG
I did play Bubsy. Um,
pilot's license. Who needs one?
this was actually this was the first game I played.
Oh heck yeah, you beeline to Bubsy.
Not quite, I basically I like wandered around a little bit, checked out what there
Where is
was.
that 4D mammal?
Yeah, yeah, and then I saw the sign for Bubsy and I was like, oh, Bubsy 4D's here. And then I looked and there was uh two systems set up to play, and there was one person on each of them. And so I was like, cool, I'm next. so so I just stood there and waited. And there were two worlds that you could play, two areas. This one that's on the screen right now, which was like, I guess, kind of like a very World 1 feel to it. And then just like a tutorial world where it just like stepped you through everything. And it got to a point where I got into the, like, I did the whole tutorial world, got into this, ran around a little bit, did a little bit, and then just kind of like was done with it. It's like, okay, I I see what this is. I know what I'm getting into. There's not much more you can show me with this.
Mhm.
I can move on. Um, and I think the there are like platformers people call like precise platformers or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Precision
precision level.
platformers. This is not that. This is
No.
not a precision platformer. So much you have so many tools at your disposal while you're playing that like you don't have to be precise. You can mess up and be like, "Oh, hit this other button. Okay, now I'm back and I'm good." You know, like cuz you have like a jump and a dive and like uh kind of like a Kirby flutter and then also like a skydive float. Like you'll see it a little bit and like
Yeah.
so many different things and then like you can transform into like a big fur ball and like roll around and bounce and stuff like that, but like while you're jumping, yeah, you have like to jump from one place to another, you have like, yeah, oh, and you can climb a little bit. uh
Yeah, so Bubsy can just get wherever he needs to.
Basically you just like if you see someplace to go, there's like you can do it and it's not too difficult. It's just figuring out the path, which is fine. That can be fun. I'm not knocking it for being like that. I think it's fun to have that freedom to just like uh explore however you're comfortable doing it. Um some of the things that I'll knock the game for is like, and like I feel the same way just looking at it on the screen, like the worlds didn't feel great.
No.
Uh like it just felt kind of empty, kind of small, kind of short, kind of just like unimpressive. Um, and it made me think of their other game coming out, Demon Tides. Um, because yeah, I think it's Fabraz is making Bubsy.
Mhm.
They are also making. They made what was the first one called? The
Demon Tough, Demon Turf, Demon Tough,
Demon
Demon
Turf.
Turf, one of them.
I think it's Demon Turf. And now they're
Mhm.
making. another game, Demon Tides, and I looked at some gameplay for Demon Tides, and there are for sure similarities in the way the game looks and plays. Um, but Demon Tides level design just looks more filled out than Bubsy 4D does. Like it made me think like Demon Tides is their main game, and they're just kind of throwing together Bubsy 4D. Um,
Like a part of me is like, is that isn't that just so Bubsy?
no,
More empty and liminal. I don't
I
know.
no, I agree, 100%. I don't know if they want it to be like that, but it is. It is very Bubsy for them to just, yeah, for it to feel empty and like, yeah. Um, so yeah, it's a very Bubsy thing. I don't know if that's good or intended. But I played Bubsy and it's fine. It
Mhm.
seemed fine. I think will enjoy it. I also played a game called Tethergeist.
Before we move on, real quick, I
Mm-hmm.
just want to point out that recently there was an interview with the head of Atari.
Okay.
Um, and that in it, he's the new head, brand new. He said we're moving away from all of like the mobile games and like all that like blockchain initiative nonsense that
Mm-hmm.
like the old CEO is trying to go in. And like in the interview, he's like, yeah, like I feel like I just want Atari to like be a brand again that people care about, and I want like we were like, what can we be the best of? And he's like reviving old games, and he talks about how like he bought Night Dive for that reason because like they're great at remastering old games, and he's like they bought another studio, they bought like the Grow Home Grow Up Ubisoft like indie
That's
like
right.
IPs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
um and he talked in it, you know, he's a CEO, so you know, take whatever he says with a grain of salt, but in it he does say a lot of really interesting things about like we have old IP that are like buried. We should make them relevant again and make like our niche games and get like a cult follow. Like he's talking about it in the way that I would a game developer to like not set their expectations up forever. I mean, obviously saying we're the best at be the best at something is really high,
Yeah.
but to like build it from like we want to be niche, we want to make cheaper games that might have a niche following so that we can like keep building this brand back again is kind of what I would want to hear in Atari, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not over ambitious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
And yeah,
trust
and Bubsy
Atari,
being
but
yeah, I don't trust them either. But Bubsy being one of the like the more recent ones when they're like, yeah, we grabbed the IP, the studio that we thought could do a good job with it.
yeah. And it will probably be the best Bubsy will have has ever been. I will say actually
That's true.
the person that I was standing behind and like
Mm.
who was playing Bubsy before me was a big Bubsy fanatic. They knew everything there was to know about Bubsy, and they were talking to the person that was working there I don't know what his role in the company is, but he did work for the company. Um and man, this dude was just going off telling this guy about Bubsy, and I'm like, man, he made the game. Like
Yeah.
he made the
I've had that exact customer at
yeah,
GameStop that has to like just explain to me like everything about one specific video game franchise before I
yeah,
totally get it.
yeah.
My last question about Bubsy before we move on is how much does he quip? Is he quipping all the time? Is
Um
he saying things? Is he yapping?
I so it might have been just because it was louder in there.
Okay.
Um, I didn't notice it, but I do
Mm.
know that they said that there would be I don't remember if it was a toggle or a slider for how much Bubsy talks.
All right, I'm playing this game. I'm turning that all the way up. I gotta hear that
Yeah.
man.
So that yeah, there is control over how much Bubsy does or doesn't talk in your game. Um, so it's yeah,
Love that.
that's hilarious. Anyway, next batch of games. I'll go over these quicker. Tethergeist. This was as it's described, super tight precision platformer.
Hmm.
Um, it's I guess it's similar to a game like Celeste, where it's like it's a screen and figure out how to platform across it, right?
Mhm.
Um, and like the interconnectivity between each screen doesn't really matter, like thematically they look similar, like you can tell when you're in like the same world, but like gameplay wise it's like each screen is basically like a level, like that's how this felt. Like it basically felt like getting past this screen was beating this level and then move on to the next level, and it just so happens that it starts from like I fell through the top screen to here, um but it was cool. It was like on the screen you would have different power-ups that you would grab and use, and you'd have to like string together. Platforming is basically how it was. It was like there wasn't so much like I mean there was a little bit of this, but it would be like, all right, get past this one obstacle, stop. Okay. Now hop to this next thing, stop. See where I'm going. It was more like look at the screen, digest what's going on, and then go for it in like one motion kind of thing, which was cool. Because then it just made it feel more rewarding to get through, where you're just like stringing this power up to get here, to grab this power up, to immediately use it to get over here, to grab this power up, to do this other thing. Um,
Okay.
so it
Okay.
felt cool. It felt rewarding. I thought this was fun. This was a good one. Um, I played. I talked about on stream recently on the show. Um, a game called Royalty Free for All. You were not here for this, but it is a platform fighter with
I caught part of this when I was able to join for a little
Okay.
bit.
Royalty free, or a spin on this team's spin on royalty free characters. Um, like for instance, they have Dorothy from The Wizard of
Hmm.
Oz, but she's like for some reason merged with Toto because Dorothy is a dog in this game.
Hmm.
And
Makes sense. Makes sense.
they explained it how like she says that she wants to get closer to Dorothy or to Toto, and so they made her a dog in this. I don't know. But yeah, and then like there's like the Loch Ness monster, Nessie, Sweeney Todd. There's Mother Goose. Um,
Lancelot, I see Lilith.
yeah, there. So I played um one round. I won. I won the free for all.
Wow.
No big deal.
Best best platformer fighter around.
Yep. Um, the
You
thing.
versus Void.
Yeah, get us together and we'll put on a show for sure. Yeah, one thing about this, it it was hard to test because it was a free for all, and so there's like constantly people in your face. Um, but I think the controls are fairly limited in this.
Well,
Like you have strongs and weaks, right? Or in Smash,
hmm,
a smash and a tilt. You have aerial moves, you have a shield, you have like a dodge and a dodge roll. Um, and I think a dash attack. But it did feel like to me just like the depth wasn't quite there. Like it felt like it was like grounded strong attack, aerial strong attack is kind of like how it felt, right? It wasn't like forward strong, neutral strong, down strong, up strong like that. Um Neutral special, up special, like it didn't feel like that. It was like much more limited.
hmm.
Um which like to me was a little bit of a bummer. Um
Seemed to be more focused on
it
being like a party game, like free for all
a
kind of
little bit, but
experience.
also look at this. I'll pause it here. It says tip. Wave dashing is easy. Just press
Oh, great.
jump plus shield. It works on ledges too. So like They have wave dashing and ledge dashing in this game. Um, which like in my mind, it's why I started off as where I was like, maybe I missed something because it was a free for all and it was like hard to just like test buttons and stuff beforehand. Um, so maybe I'm missing some of the depth. But I
Yeah.
didn't feel it in my one free
Yeah,
for all
and it
match
could
that I played.
always be like maybe it's more movement death than it is like I don't know, attack depth or something like that.
Yeah,
Maybe it is more of a spacing game.
it could be just like yeah, more spacing with less move variety per character. I did notice that there were times where it felt like I could string moves into each other, so it will have combos. I just don't know how deep the combos will go. Um, and then this last game that I'm showing off here, I didn't get to play it, but I wanted to bring it because, like I told you before the show, it just seemed kind of like a if this was done well, like it could be a K game. It's called Blocks for Babies.
So wacky.
It is wacky. It's basically is there a video? It's basically you play Tetris, uh but then also sometimes you can switch into first person mode and go around and it's a boomer shooter.
Hmm.
Um
It's just so crazy.
it looks it is crazy and it could be good.
Hmm.
Uh which is why I wanted to bring this. I didn't get to play it. I just watched a little bit of it, but my only concern with it was when I was watching it at the show, it looked very simple.
Hmm.
Like the person playing, specifically the first person boomer shooter mode, never looked like the person playing had any struggle. And like when I was watching it, I was like, this doesn't look hard. Um, but even just like this video, there were first person scenes that like looked more complex than what I saw at PAX. So like that's why I'm like, I'm hoping that this is harder than it looked. It is Blocks for Babies, so maybe not.
Yeah, it does say for babies.
It says it's for
I like
babies.
how the the blocks logo is like very clearly reminiscent of like a Doom.
Doom.
And
Yeah.
then the babies is another game that I can't think of off the top of my head.
I don't know. I thought like Babality from Mortal Kombat.
Babality.
That's what I
It could
thought.
also maybe look like no double double doesn't look anything. All right, moving on
But yeah,
from my brain.
so there's a demo for that. And then last game I'll talk about. I didn't see it at uh PAX, um, but I've had it and I played it. It's called Demon's Bluff. You can get into the playtest now. Single player game. It was fun. It's a card game. Um,
Hmm.
social deduction single player game
Oh, okay.
where you'll have a deck of cards. Actually, let me see if I can find just like pictures. Uh so you'll have like a deck of cards and you know as you progress you'll get more cards added to your deck or it'll just change up in like the I am assuming just in the playtest it's just like giving you specific decks and scenarios for each level. Um
Hmm.
but it'll basically you have a village, you have it's similar to like say a werewolf or a mafia, right? You have
Hmm.
villagers, they have different roles. Those roles have different powers. Um, this, image you can see the knitter is I don't like that.
You don't like saying the word knitter?
I don't. Learn how many evils are adjacent to each other. So like, you'll flip their card over and she'll be like there's one pair of minions or whatever. And so that way, you know, she's telling you the two characters that are evil that are like, that you're trying to find are next to each other. And she's like, okay, cool. Um, However, it is possible that that card is one of the minions or demons that you're looking for, so they're lying to you, right? So you got to go around all your cards, um, and using their powers to deduce like who do I think is lying, basically.
Yeah, it's like it seems to be basic like a little randomized word puzzle almost.
Yes, yeah, basically. And then like as you play, like if you play the play test, it just keeps giving you new like decks completely. Whereas this is, making it seem more like with, you know, maybe it's in the playtest and I just didn't get that far in it. But for the full game, at least, it looks like it's like as you go on in like a run, you'll just add cards to your deck rather than like just be given preset decks. Um, they're like here's you can see a deck here. Here's the deck. There's your villagers up top, your outcasts in the middle, um, and then the minions and demons which you're trying to find. Um, Everything has different abilities. Um, the minions and demons have
Mm-hmm.
different types of minions and demons. So like some of them are like there's one that's a witch, and the witch makes it so you can't flip over the last card. So whatever, as you're like flipping over the cards to reveal, um, you can see it on the screen. As you're flipping over cards to reveal the role that's there, if there's a witch on the field somewhere, you can't flip over that last card. So you don't get to know what that last card is until you find and kill the witch. So so
Interesting.
you could be missing out on some
Interesting.
information for that. There and then yeah, the minions and demons all have different abilities other than just being someone who's pretending to be someone else, basically. They are still pretending to be someone else, but they'll have extra parameters with them. Like it'll be like they corrupted the person next to you or next to them. So that way it looks like they're lying, stuff like that. But that game's cool. Join the playtest. It's fun. It's cool. I've enjoyed playing it. Last night, it's one of those games where I could just like easily just like, I don't know what to do, boot up Demon Bluff and just mess around for a little bit. It was
Yeah, it feels like a game that I really could like lose a whole night to just like
ap-
playing it.
absolutely. Yeah. And it gets
Mhm.
hard. Like it definitely like when I was playing through the beginning, I was like, oh, this is easy. And it has a score section to it in like the tutorial at least. Like I don't really see it on these screenshots. The screenshots look a little bit different with the UI. But like uh in the run that I was doing, like you would get scored, and I'm imagining you get higher score if you figure out all of the minions and demons before flipping over all the cards, you know, stuff like that. Because that happens, especially early on. You'll flip somebody and you'll just know, like, oh, I've only flipped over two other cards. I already know this person's the minion or the demon. Kill them. And it'll tell you how many people are minions or demons that you have to kill. Um, if you kill somebody who's not a demon, you lose some health. Uh, and then it's just increases your potential for failure for you know whatnot.
Okay.
It's good.
Listen, Chris, I got into the playtest as you were speaking, and now I have it downloaded. So
Play it later when you,
yeah, I
when you get
probably
some
will.
time. It's cool. It was fun. And that's it for my games. So
My turn.
it's your turn. We'll move on to
Mhm.
Kay's games now. Sorry that took a little long, but
You're fine.
yeah,
We had a lot of content.
yeah. So you played some demos.
I did. I played a bunch of demos in the PAX demo pack on Steam that you can go through. They have a little tab dedicated towards just demos. Um, I saw you were at PAX, and I was like, this is like neat. I can probably fill in gaps of things that were at PAX and whatnot,
Actually,
and also
that's something I want to note about
what.
PAX is like I'm not sure how worth PAX is if you're not going to PAX for either the big games like
Mm-hmm.
Kirby Air Ride, Pragmata, Resident Evil. Like those were all there. Or if you're not going for like the panels and stuff like that, because so many of those like smaller indie games that take up so much of the show floor are also just
Mm-hmm.
available to download the demo on Steam.
Yeah, and it puts, I think, Penny Arcade in an interesting place where it's like you can't you you can't, the value of going to PAX for a lot of people are these demos and the big games and whatnot, and I can't imagine they would ever be able to like financially make a rule that's like, hey, if you are at PAX, you have to have your demo exclusive to PAX for X amount of time,
Yeah.
because, or something similar, because then like all these indie games wouldn't go because it's just way more reach
Yeah.
to, just now that we're in the age of like computer demos, or like putting your demo on PC, I should say, um, which is like rapidly more and more of a trend, a very nice trend.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they would just not go, and then you would lose like a lot of your your side dishes, I guess. Like
Yeah.
if you go to PAX for Kirby Air Ride, you're gonna want to play at least a couple indies probably.
Yeah.
Um, So it's in an interesting space. Like yeah, as you said, like if you're not there for Pragmata, Resident Evil, Kirby, Bubsy, like what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Or yeah, so again, anyone who hasn't been to a PAX, who wants to go to one, um, I recommend multiple days. That way you can
Mhm.
make sure you get in line for all the big games. You can see some smaller stuff, and you can go to the panels because I haven't done a ton of panels at PAX, but I do think those are like some of the best things you can do there for sure. Anyway, your games.
Yeah. So going through the demos that were available, there were a couple games that said they were like at PAX maybe, and they might have not had demos. Like I don't know if you can speak, was Sacrifier there at all, or that you recognize?
Uh,
Because that one I saw and I'm like, damn, I wish I could play the demo for that.
Sac
It's very Chrono Trigger inspired, has that like HD 2D kind of look to it. Um,
Sacrifier. It could have been there, but I don't recognize
mhm.
it.
That's like the big one. I was like, oh man, out of all these indie, I was like, I wish I could play this right now. And it said it was in the PAX bundle, but who knows? Steam could be lying to us.
Could be.
Um, yeah. To start off the games that I played, I have two that are very similar, but also very. I think like it's like I'm gonna drag out my niche differences in genres real quick here.
Okay.
The first one I picked was Lost Idolians: Veil of the Witch. This is a semi sequel to Lost Idolians, which is a we have Fire Emblem Three Houses at Home game.
Okay.
Um,
Cool. It's fine.
which yeah, everyone that I've heard talk about Lost Idolians is a I think it's Korean, I think. I'm not 100% sure. But everyone is like, yeah, it's like Fire Emblem on PC, and it's like not the high quality of Fire Emblem, but it's still a pretty good Dosh Garn good game. Veil the Witch, though, takes the concept, gets rid of like the running around a big like camp kind of third person part of it, and just strips it down to it's a tactics RPG and a roguelike at the same time. And all the storytelling is done very similar to Hades, in a way that like you get really far in your run, you die, and then story progresses based on what you were able to accomplish on your run, and like kind of stuff like that, and then it will just keep progressing that.
Mm-hmm.
The game is in early access now. I have not bought it, but I did really enjoy my time doing a couple runs. um it is unlike a lot of I guess like tactics games, like it's you just have five characters um in the original, like in what it is right now. It does show that there's, hey, four more later, but you pick five characters, you go on a run. It is very much like a, like you see like two paths or three paths, and it shows you what your reward is for most of them. There might be a question here and there, but You go, I want more of this essence because that essence is going to improve my weapons. So
Mm-hmm.
you go do that. You go fight the battle there. You improve your weapons. As your characters level up in a run, you will gain an RNG choice of like a skill that your character. So you could in a certain run gain abilities that make your main character starts with ability. They use swords and they use bows. Um, and so you might end up going through a run and being like, oh wait, I've gotten way more sword stuff, so like my bow doesn't like I'm not going to utilize that as much, or I'm way more bow heavy this time. Um, so like your characters are going to build different throughout each run. Once you die and you lose the run to a camp, and it's just like it's just different like tabs basically on a screen, and you can upgrade your characters like permanently, like using the light version of the term, um, gaining buffs that persist over runs, and getting to know like your party members better, all fully voice acted. Crazy character designs on some of them. Um, but it was really really fun. It was just like it was a good time. It was like I love tactics games, and I'm kind of like petering around waiting Final Fantasy Tactics to come out at this point or whenever the next Fire Emblem comes out. Um, and I was like, I think I really might pick this up. I might want to wait till it's fully out though, just to get content, so I'm not in a Hades 2 scenario where I kind of like I don't know how much I would put into it because I want to just experience the whole thing.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it has build variety. It has persistent upgrades. It has like a decently compelling story about like your and a reason for why the like rules
Oh.
like exist.
Uh-huh.
Like this god of the dead basically was like, hey, somebody out there is like making a fool of me and summoning zombies and finding a way to cheat death permanently and whatnot. They're like, I'm gonna basically make you my servant, um, and I'm gonna keep bringing you back until you can stop them, kind of thing.
Okay. I mean,
Um,
it also I want to say uh the the art and like UI and everything for the game looks really nice.
uh-huh.
I
I
now
was really worried at first because like there's like in the character art, there's a very similar style that you see nowadays, and I did some digging in. It's not AI art, so
oh
I was
cool.
very happy.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, because you posted a picture of one of these characters
Yeah, I was
in
like, whoa, hey.
in Discord. Uh
Hmm.
and you're like, wow, this is a cool character.
Very much so. Also, there's other like react like the things you'd want from a tactics game. There's like environmental reactivity.
Mm-hmm.
If someone is standing in multiple people are standing in water, you can electrocute any part of the water, and it will hurt everyone in water. There's like you can freeze people if they're drenched. They take less fire damage if they're drenched, and like kind of like there's some stuff with that. There's a very new age Fire Emblem mechanic with monsters that will have like a bigger hitbox, and but certain parts of their hitbox are like it's really good to use an axe against this one, or it's good to use a pike or spells, that kind of thing. So it encourages moving your party members around a lot in just in a way that keeps you engaged.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the reviews for it on Steam have been very positive, and as of recent, mostly positive. So,
Mm.
um, yeah,
Yeah.
if this does feel like a as you called it, like Fire Emblem, like what was it, Three Houses, whatever.
Yeah, that
Uh,
was
the
the last one was more three houses. This one is just like a kind of Fire Emblem.
Okay, yeah, Fire Emblem on PC at home for adults.
Definitely more adult heavy.
Yeah, it looks like
Uh,
more blood.
uh, yeah, blood characters are older,
Hmm.
which is a critique of the last couple Fire Emblem. Um, yeah, so that's game one.
Hmm.
I'm gonna keep an eye on it. I don't know if I'll buy it in early access yet, but I am excited to see what keeps happening
Hmm. Hmm.
with that game. All right, my second one, the Kriegsfront Tactics, is also technically a tactics game. It is technically different though.
It does say tactics in the title, so I believe you.
It does it does say tactics in the title, but it's instead of being a Fire Emblem like, it's an XCOM. like
Okay.
where it's like you have like 7 AP for your round, and you can one square takes 1 AP, but shooting might take 4, or doing another like it's very XCOM. If you played any of the recent XCOMs, a lot of that in like
Okay.
loading costs AP. You have to manage your ammo, your health, but this also takes it farther, and it has a lot of fun mech concepts. Um, your mech takes static damage, like you don't cure your mech like throughout the battle, like throughout the multiple battles that you go through. I should say, you have to go to like hangars or whatnot to swap out your mech parts so that you can have um more like more health in your right arm so that you can carry a right arm gun or there. Um, this is really interesting. It has this kind of like retro Vietnam, but with mechs kind of aesthetic going on
Yep.
to it. Um, it's like there's TV film grain like filters and a bunch of all stuff to make it even more retro looking.
Hmm.
Um, all the characters are fully voice acted and can participate in cutscenes in this like prologue that you can download. That being said, you can be like me and you can have a character die, and for the rest of the prologue, I didn't have that character
Okay.
around, so I didn't get his dialogue far on. But when I did it the second time, he had dialogue in those scenes, which I thought was really neat.
That is neat.
Kind of like storylines changing um
Who's
with just
available?
your competency, yeah,
Yeah.
who's available in your and the other thing, as you get into like the mech customization, they do all that fun thing those mech sickos like. They can customize like what type of weapons you're carrying. You
Yeah.
can
Yeah. Yeah.
change your emblems that you have on your mech, colors. Mech. You can really spruce up what your mech is like. Um,
Mexicos sure are something.
yeah. Uh, but I had good fun with this. Another one I'm gonna keep my eyes on, because just like Fire Emblem not being really on PC and there being only a couple indie things, there's really no XCOM likes that are of quality. I would say
Okay.
there are some ones that like are okay, but none that really like fill the vibe. And I'm kind of hoping this one fills at least a part of my XCOM list whole.
Yeah. It's
Trying to think of
it's
anything else.
it's got a fun look to it for sure.
Hmm.
The very weird retro like gameplay. Uh, the some of the UI elements almost remind me for some reason of like probably just because it's prevalent right now, but like Metal Gear.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I think it definitely is taking from like yeah, like the Metal Gear 3 vibes. Again, it's very Vietnam code.
mm-hmm.
It's very like they're using guerrilla warfare and like they're tongue in cheek. The soldiers that you're playing as are like we're bringing democracy. That at least that's what they tell us we're doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
Of course.
um, but it's fun. Characters are good. It does have that same XCOM feel as though of like your best strategy most of the time is to slowly move grid instead of like um just like you can going all in and just moving all of your AP is like almost suicide for a unit. You want to like slow move, Overwatch, like wait to attack when they see you, kind of thing.
Which I can imagine, especially
Um,
because, like you said, like you don't just heal after battle, so like
mhm,
you can't just be uh like, well, I'm gonna win this, so like I'll take some hits, but I'll end up winning this. Like it does, you have to like manage your health from battle to battle. So I
mhm.
can see where that would play in, where yeah, it's more important to like have a slow push.
Yeah, and at least like how like your characters are set up in the beginning of this one, they all have like these like different roles that I think they deal really well. Like you have your sniper. Your sniper is only going to be like 1 or 2 squares at a time because it takes like 6 AP to shoot something.
Hmm.
Um, but like then you have your person with your shield who you might be a little
Oh, your mic cut out
willing to get
there.
closer. Oh, you have your person with your shield, so you might be a little bit more closer. And like have them tank a little bit more while you're like quick units. You're more like your person with missiles or something might be a little bit farther behind so that they do like more support things. Like there's a lot of like AoE missile kind of things, damage, but it will destroy their cover kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. It was a good. It made me think. It made me have fun.
Hell yeah.
That's what you want out of a game.
Yeah. You want a tactics game to make you think a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. What was next?
Oh, Windswept, which you talked
I
about
did talk about
one day,
Windswept one day.
and you made me realize that this game was real. And then I,
Tried it.
over vacation, played a lot of Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2. And let me tell you, when I got home and played this, I was like, I've never left. I
Okay,
was like,
cool.
I'm still playing Donkey Kong Country. Windswept is a lot of fun. I played about 3 levels of the demo,
Okay.
just getting my feet wet.
Mm-hmm.
Wet. my feet swept.
You got your feet swept.
Um,
Yep.
it's very much a buddy platform. It's very much Donkey Kong. You're a little bit of an asynchronous like gameplay between the two, where like you use the turtle literally has a move is in DKC2 where you throw like Diddy or Dixie up farther so that they can like land on something and you're now higher up on the map. So like there's that exact move in this game. One of them can kind of glide like Dixie can with her hair. One of them
Hmm.
is a little bit like more does damage going from like the side. One of them does more damage like coming like you're jumping down. Very similar to like Donkey Kong Country 3 in that regard. And like all the collectibles, like you go and you find a little and it brings you to like a little mini game in the same way that like the bonus barrels would into a little mini game where it's either like collect all the stars, kill all the villains, get to the end of the level, like a little platforming challenge. It's very Donkey Kong Country. I had a blast with it. I'll definitely get this when it comes out. It's very cute. The
Cool.
music reminds me more honestly of like Super Mario World,
Oh,
and that's not a bad thing.
no. Cool. Cool. I like that that turned out good. Yeah, this is a game I've seen, it feels like for years, just like slowly popping up through like Twitter. And then it was, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not until recently. Um
I never got to this like high tech, like really,
oh yeah, yeah,
they're good
yeah.
movement that you can see down there. Like the end is only the beginning where it shows
Oh yeah.
like doing a lot of like start stops.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying, sorry, the thing about this is that I'd seen it a lot on Twitter, but for like years, but it wasn't until recently when I had it on the show last time where I like finally saw it on Steam. So
Mm.
you know, it's cool to hear that like it is enjoyable and it wasn't just like some stupid thing that I saw forever. Yeah, cool.
Oh,
What this doesn't have a date. No.
no, no date right now.
Do any of them have a date to be announced? Oh, well, I guess
In lots, this is
early
early
access.
access.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and then last but not least is a game that also doesn't have a date, and this one, um, I lost a good portion of my day last night to called Order Automatica. I think this is a game that you will like. It's basically Super Auto Pets, but with like an inscription flair, I guess. Um, it's like to explain. This is like a little bit more to explain. So you have your 3x3 grid,
Mm-hmm.
and if you look at one of the stills, you can see. Is there one of these stills like really empty? Not really. Yeah, you kind of go farther down. Each still has a number associated. I mean, each square has a number. So you play on the left side, and if the person on your one attacks first, and they always attack the lowest number on your opponent's side first, unless they have a special item. And so it's an auto battler, I should say also. So
Okay.
you put all your people and your minions on the board, and then you just let them go, and you just hope that you built your board best good enough. So like one will attack one first, and then their one will attack you're one if you're both still alive, or if your one died, they're one, you're two, and then your next turn is your two goes if it's still alive. If not, then their two will attack. It's very much of like it goes one, one, two, two, three, three, four, like, and that's the order of operations.
Yeah.
For the most part. There are some like things that will like your an item that's like your one will always attack, or person with this item will always attack like the last in their queue. Um, it's typical like standard kind of like Slay the Spire esque like kind of thing where you every certain amount of battles you get like an upgrade, and that upgrade you get to choose out of a couple like roguelike. Um, and you'll be able to like, oh, so people in cell number one get +3/+3 every map or every battle and whatnot. Um, and then the thing that I didn't realize for several runs, because for a couple runs I was like, oh, this is really hard. I was like, I don't really understand like the strategy. Like, am I just gonna just like a one base thing? And then I realized at any time if you combine, if you have three of the same card, the same guy on a board in a line. So if you have three wolves next to each other, three like of the nurses, three of the jesters or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
they fuse, they level up, their abilities get stronger. Everyone has abilities as something as basic as like if you sell this card, you gain extra money. To like when this dies, you give everyone. So like I didn't realize for like multiple runs that like, oh, I should be leveling out my.
Yeah, yeah.
um, and then once I did, it clicked, and I won a whole
Oh,
like thing.
yeah.
I was like, I get it now. I just need to level up and be consistent and kind of like fish for certain like build kind of synergy. Um, they don't have a ton of variety in like the demo. It's just literally like I think
Your mic
maybe
keeps cutting
like,
out.
oh
Yeah, I
no,
don't know why.
because I'm sick and it's being mad at me.
Maybe.
Uh, why? It doesn't say anything's bad there, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just not enunciating enough,
I don't know.
and I'm a
Yeah,
little sick.
every once in a while it's just like I don't know if it's just like not picking up, but yeah, I don't know.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, it's a little gosh darn puzzle roguelike. It says it's like wants to be Super Auto Pets meets Inscription, um, which is cool, and I'm excited to see like what actually gets added to the game because there's not like the most amount of content in the demo, but there is enough to go through like 3 rounds, which is like 30 matches, um, with like upgrades and whatnot.
Yeah, when you were describing the way like you upgrade the units and then if you sell them this happens and this and that, my first thought was thinking like and with the auto battler part of it, I was like, oh, little like super auto pets ish.
Hmm.
Cool. Yeah, this one sounds cool.
Yeah. I suggest picking up the demo and just spending at least like one run or two because it might capture you, and if it does, then you're like, oh, all right, goodbye 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Order Automatica. I get
Order.
I understand the name of it now that you've explained the gameplay.
It is an ordered and it's automatic.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. That's all.
Yeah, that's all I got from my demos I played.
All right.
We can move on and talk about Silk Song.
Yeah. So Silk Song, it's
I hear it's
out.
got a lot of bugs.
Yep. Yep. It's out in 2 days. Highly anticipated.
The highest anticipated game of all time, maybe.
No,
The
but it's
biggest media.
but it's up there.
It's up there, man.
It's up there. Um, so like I talked about it a little bit on another show. The history of Silk Song, Signed Up Quickly, is it started off, it was going to be DLC for Hollow Knight. Um, it grew and grew and grew to the point where they decided, actually, instead of it being DLC, we're going to make a brand new game with what we've done. And then it's been like 7 years of that. And now it's finally out. Um, and that's like part of the reason why I think the anticipation and the hype has grown so much is because of just like where it started and how it always it, from the get-go it always felt like something that was like so close, and then
Mm-hmm.
it just like they just went silent, so we never knew. There was never that like that break from being like, oh, it's not coming out for another 3 years. It was always like, when are we hearing
It could
more?
be now. It could,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it like occupies like unique territory where it's like this is Silksong has managed because of the mythos and like the like long development cycle, and it's just the love of Hollow Knight of like its Half-Life 3 status in a lot of ways, where like every like conference, anytime there's any sort of video game press release, so like when is Silksong going to be here?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think it's fascinating that it got to this part. Like Hollow Knight is a very excellent game.
Yeah.
It is still a 2D Metroidvania, and like despite its popularity, is relatively like niche in the grand scheme of like video game genres. I guess I would say.
Yeah, I mean that was the next thing I was gonna say is like all this hype built up, and a lot of it was through that process. Um, some of it is because like the game's good, but like it's just it's a very good Metroidvania. It's a very good 2D Metroidvania, with a pretty art style. It plays well. Um, there was never anything groundbreaking about it, I don't think. It was just a good one of those games.
Mhm.
Really good. Like I'd say it's a really good game. Um, and so like I think that's part of why like there's gonna be a lot of people where this just like doesn't meet the hype
Mhm.
for sure. Um, I think a lot of those people are probably people who got to the game late, or like who got like maybe they didn't play the first Hollow Knight. Um, it is a record. It had like a record day very recently of like concurrent players, most ever.
Yeah, yeah, most ever, and also like to like I just looked this up because I was curious. So like by in 2019, the game sold 2.8 million copies in total. That was the
Yeah.
number it reached. And then as of last month, they reached 15 million.
Yep.
The word of mouth on Hollow Knight, and because of honestly the part like the almost the any developer anywhere would kill to have Hollow Knight's marketing, um,
Yeah.
of just this word of mouth of just the constant those concept of like oh man, it's built up so much bigger than a game you reasonably should, but and it's helped Hollow Knight one's reach over 15 million
Yeah.
copies, and now Silksong 2 is coming out, and I don't know how quickly it will reach that number, but unless the game is like abysmal, like it's gonna do really well. But will it? The hype part's the interesting thing because I don't. You know the question you posit is how does Silksong live up to the hype?
Yeah, it's going to sell extremely well. It's $20, which
Which is crazy.
a lot of people are like, that's too little. What are you doing?
Yeah,
You can't sell a game for
yeah.
only $20. How have we
Mm-hmm.
gone 7 years without this, and then you drop it and it's only $20, which like for like
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna sell crazy. Um, but the hype is just like I don't know what it needs to do when people actually get it in their hands and play it for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
Like, um, it's gonna be, from what I can tell, mostly more of the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, the mechanics look like like they similar enough, and the like world looks similar enough.
mhm.
Like it, like I don't have like the nitty gritty on exactly like everything they've said about like what is actually changing, but is more of the same of like a 9 out of 10 video game like bad? No.
No, no. And so like I think there is a part of this where like it does need to have a little bit of more of the same. That way, like the the people who like actually enjoyed Hollow Knight,
Mm-hmm.
um, that hunger is going to be met. They'll be like, ah, yes, this is what I remember. I like
Mm-hmm.
this, and then that way, like another year or two down the line, like those are going to be the people that are still talking about it. Um, the people who like only know about the game because of the recent hype. Um, there's going to be a lot of people who are like, I don't get it. It's not that good. Whatever, and then they're going to disappear. Um,
Yeah.
and so I do think you need more of the same. With that more of the same, I think the two biggest factors to make this stand out more is going to be one is going to be like I think the size of the map,
Mm-hmm.
the size and variety of art styles you see, whatever the size of the map, how big that is, um, and in addition, the boss fights. Uh, Not only like the number of boss fights, but some of like the creativity in boss fights.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are certain games that are like that's the whole point of it. Like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, like those are games
Yeah.
like when people think back on those games, you're thinking about the boss fights.
Yeah, you're not thinking about like the Joe Schmo.
And while like that's not entirely what Hollow Knight is, I think it is one of the things that would help like it like stick that hype where it's like that's a lot of what people would talk about, I think, like around the water cooler are like the boss moments.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
One of the early like things we get out of that, I know like in our doc we have some of the gameplay from the demo, but um I was listening to people talk about it, the PAX demo, and the boss that you get to fight in it has been described to me as like what feels like you're 1v1ing someone on Final Destination. Like it's just like the amount of movement between your enemy and you is so quick and so um involved. It feels like a like almost like a platform fighter but without the platforms. Like it just they're just like singing that fight's praises in the
yeah,
demo, which sounds like that rules. And I
does.
can't imagine like they're not going to be here like and introducing just like different types and styles of bosses, like from your big giant guys to your like slow down and like dodge like bullet hell kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know, all the mainstays of like what the genre has become and what Hollow Knight did to the genre. And it's just how memorable do you make music and their moves and like their looks. That's like the big part, I think. Um, but to put it in perspective, Hollow Knight, I looked it up, singular. Um, Main story to beat is 27 hours, like on Hollow Knight beat, and then completion is like 65 hours.
Okay.
To sneeze. Um, sorry. Um, and how long does this like? How long does Silk Song with its like kind of production bloat? What scenes again? uh, like how big of a game is this? I'm so fascinated to find out. Like, is it another game where you can like mainline it within like a third of like the game if you like of the content available,
Mm-hmm.
or is it something more of like oh you can really like explore and like we kind of made more and more of the game like integral to the experience.
Did you read that Jason Schreier article?
I didn't read the whole thing.
So part of it, at least, is what I'll say is like, you know, he, he says like part of the reason why it took so long is they were just having fun with the process of making the game,
Mm-hmm.
and they got into this flow and this process where it was very easy for them to just like think of a boss and add it into the game. And so like I think they've said that there's like 40 or over 40 bosses in this game. Um I can't imagine that all 40 of those
Mm-hmm.
bosses are uh like mainline bosses. Like I would imagine a lot of that is optional, right? And so like
Yeah.
with you talking about like the time it took to beat Hollow Knight, 27 hours to like mainline it or 60 something for the completionist, right?
Right.
Um I think if they were to make if they made this game mainlined take roughly the same amount of time, you know, somewhere around that 30-hour mark,
Mm-hmm.
I think that sounds awesome. But if if they surpass that like completionist time, I think that's another point where like the hype also like builds more because then it's just like a lot of it is like, you know, I don't even know the term anymore because like a water cooler is like such an old term. We're all online, but like,
Yeah.
but like those
Your
type,
Discord chat, and you're like,
yeah,
oh my god.
yeah, those types of like discussions that you have of like the stuff that you did and saw and where you found it and where how you got there that someone else playing who also beat the game didn't get to see but can now go back and
Mm,
like try to find like those are that kind of things that like helps hype because you want to feel excited about the game you're talking about and it's exciting telling people something that they didn't do or that they didn't get to see, you know, like you both had the same experience playing this game but like it was so exciting when I saw this thing, you didn't do that, oh my god, let me tell you about it, you know. I think that helps build hype also like post
yeah.
launch.
Yeah, 100%. And that's like one of my favorite. This is one of the best things about video games is that when you can have those moments,
Yeah,
like those social bits about a non-social game almost.
I get
I looked it up. Base Hollow Knight has 47 bosses, and this said it
okay,
had how many?
over 40 is what I saw.
Over 40. So around the same probably.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that includes like Hollow Knight with like the added on content and stuff like that.
Okay,
The free updates and whatnot.
yeah,
Um optional stuff. So I would imagine around the same. Which is not bad at all.
no,
Um, and like, I think I am curious to see like if Hornet, the character you play as, how differently she plays to the knight. Um, if she plays like much differently at all. That's something that was one of my like kind of the more interesting thing about like going from Hades 1 to Hades 2 is like Hades 2 is a lot of the same kind of concept, but your character plays completely differently. Your range character in Hades 2 than you ever. Um, and so like I wonder, and like there are certain people that like, oh, they just didn't vibe with it at first. Get it? I wonder if Hornet will play any different to the Knight, and like to a way that it's like divisive, or if it's what have you.
because yeah, so Hornet is in the first game, not the playable
Yeah, you see
character.
her. Yeah.
My like uh view of Hornet was always that she was just like maybe more nimble.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she was just a little bit faster is all. She was also like I don't know, I think she was also portrayed as kind of like this like like a very strong character. Whereas like the knight, you feel like this underdog kind of. You're just a little
Hmm.
guy as the knight.
Just a little
You're just a
guy.
little guy, but like Hornet was like, oh, like in my playthrough at least, the way I thought it worked is like she's portrayed like she's kind of a badass.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
for sure. Like, she's like someone that you should know. Whereas like Knight is like kind of fumbling his way and like getting stronger, but he's just
yeah,
like almost not. He almost feels in some ways like not like like he's obviously the main character of Hollow Knight. He's like not the main character
It-
in some
oh, you
ways.
cut out there. He's not the main character of Hollow Knight, but
Character, he's like not the main character of like the
yeah,
universe
yeah, yeah,
itself. Like that feels something more that like maybe Hornet fits into, or she's like just she's just feels bigger
yeah,
than um the story of Hollow Knight itself, I guess.
yeah. Hornet's a legend in like the world and the like
Hmm.
people talk about Hornet. Uh, when you play through Hollow Knight, like that's how it was. Like people already knew Hornet. Like you're just
Hmm.
like I said, yeah, you're just a guy. You're just a little guy, and
Just a little bug.
you just like will your way through it, and then like it's almost it almost feels like yeah, like the world doesn't really notice you, you know, for a lot of the game. You make a name for yourself where like Hornet's already got that notoriety.
She got that dog in her.
Yeah, so um yeah, I mean, so I guess my
The
my thing for how this lives up to the hype, I guess, goes with like uh it the having a vast world with memorable bosses and like, you know, gameplay that feels familiar to the first.
Yeah, I think like living up to the height is such a is a concept because like again, this is one of the most anticipated games of all time. It is one of the most
Hmm.
talked about, hyped up games of all time. Can you ever live up to something that like steep is like it feels impossible. It feels just like something you can't. Like is Hollow Knight going to be a really great game? I'm near fucking sure it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Silksong. Like I'm near positive, but to live up to like the hype, this like and what we built up about it, like that's a stronger ask. Like that has like you have to be one of the best games ever made, I think, to live up to this impossible brand that we society has built around it. I guess like it's just like what we've like. I think like I don't know. I've talked about like if Half-Life 3 ever comes out, it can't just be a good game.
Yeah.
Like it's like one of those things where it's just like I'm sure it's more than just a good game. Is it going to be like, will this in 5, 10 years be in the top 100 list of all time?
Right.
That's what it feels like it needs to live up to the hype.
Right. Um,
Um,
did you happen to
and I guess like,
oh, go ahead.
oh, you go.
No,
I
you
was gonna
go.
say, and like my thing to like live up to the hype, or like what I would need is just like more variety, I guess, more build, like I believe like you have your little charms or whatever
Hmm.
they're called. Um, more interesting customization stuff like with that make the game feel um you have like more agency over like how you want to approach combat in the game kind of
Hmm.
thing, while also being as filled in as like and captivating is such a difficult like thing to say because like that's more subjective, but like the world just needs to captivate as much if not more than like Hollow Knight does.
Yeah. I can't imagine that it is any less captivating than Hollow
Hmm.
Knight was. I don't know why. I just maybe based on like the little bit I've seen and like from what I've heard through their development cycle and whatnot, like and just their general art style, I think is also just like very nice. Um, so like I I imagine that it yeah, because even just like looking at the screen now, this like lava section, like I don't remember
Hmm.
anything that looked like this in the first
No,
game.
yeah.
So that's cool already. Like that's like a different element to an environment. Yeah, did you happen to see there was some buzz about a video and a list that Coney made online.
No, I did not.
So Coney had a video and put out a list online, and it was, Coney is a special individual,
The
uh,
character.
a little clickbaity, right?
Hmm.
Um, but I understand like this list was almost like misleading in a way, I guess, with its title, where it was
Hmm.
basically like I think it was like the four worst games ever, right? And I can maybe try to bring it up, but like the list that Coney made of the four worst games
Hmm.
ever included like BioShock Infinite,
Hmm.
Banjo Tooie, and I forget what else. Maybe I can try to find it, but it was like in my mind, and like from what I saw a little bit from like his explanation, it was just like not necessarily the technically worst games, but like games that just like uh, did not build off of its previous game in like a meaningful or fun way, right? Hold on.
Hmm. I think I see like one of these Arkhams, maybe.
So Coney's four worst games ever: uh, Bioshock Infinite, Banjo Tooie, Dead by Daylight, and then Super Mario Strikers Battle League.
Okay.
And so yeah, it was this content where it was basically just like yeah, just like games that like had such a solid foundation from its predecessor and just like
Hmm.
didn't even meet the same expectations in Coney's view at least. Um and like I just in my mind there's no world where this game uh doesn't like at like there's no one who I think can think that about Silk Song. Like
Hmm.
I understand and like very like I specifically remember the like BioShock Infinite where it was this thing where it was like people were so upset with BioShock Infinite and it wasn't because it was like a bad game. It was just like their expectations for it were so high and it just like they would rather go back and play the old game. Um and like there's just I can't imagine this reaching like that point with people where they're just like I would rather just play the first game because from everything I can tell this game is just the first game with more.
Yeah,
um
and I think that's what it needs to be.
yeah, I agree. I think we touched on it. It's impossible for it to reach its hype, for the internet. i
Hmm.
i did catch myself, I think, when I was kind of like building like how does it live up to the hype. um I think I was describing it on a sane person's like point of view, um
Hmm.
like myself. So
Yeah. Like, does this live up to my hype? Probably, absolutely.
yeah.
Like, sure.
And like that
Um,
was a little bit of it, is like does it live up to my hype, does it live up to like the general hype.
mhm. I will, without a doubt, be buying this game. How much I'm able to get in is like a thing. Like, for sure. Like, I just like I want to give it time. It feels like almost like an injustice
Mm-hmm.
to like try to just like as I do so much with certain games, like play like 12 hours in a day, um, like on my day off, and just like do nothing but like this game.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a game I want to just like, and not like consume, I guess, because of how important it feels.
Yeah, yeah. And okay, uh it's it's crazy also because like they mentioned it in that Jason Schreier article where like uh one, they didn't really notice the hype. They're not very online people, so they didn't understand that like every Nintendo Direct,
No,
people
like
were
so
like,
song.
yeah, they never saw any of that. They didn't understand it. Didn't know that was happening. Um, just kept to their corner and just like did their thing. Didn't really see much. And then also have already been like, we're so excited to release this game and so excited to add more to it, to like
Mm-hmm.
keep working on it. So like another thing with Silk Song is that like what we get in 2 days isn't going to be the end of it.
One of the things you said earlier, and I to touch upon it, and I just remembered it now, is like I will never in my god life bet against a team that has had so much fun making the game. Like that amount of like love and like positivity in your life and having it um like I can't imagine it not showing through and shining through
Yeah.
the experience of playing a video game. Like I will never bet against that. Like it this game will be great. Period.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a great game. Um I I I think that's all it needs to live up to the hype to me. It just needs to be another great game. Um so yeah. So that was how does Silk Song live up to the hype? That's it.
By being good. No.
By being good, just by being good. Yeah, no, it's just like expanding on that world that it's already built. Uh, having memorable boss fights. You were saying having, you touched on like the abilities that you get. Uh, yeah.
One of the things that also this is just minor is that like the music in Hollow Knight one has the motif that comes through in like the City of Rain or whatever the name city of the there's a motif in Hollow Knight that gets used and interlaid through like almost all of the songs in like
Hmm.
in pivotal parts of the story. And I'm a sucker for that. So give me some good music that I hear and go, wow, this is good. Cry because of it.
I feel like, oh my god, my cat. I feel like this is that point, that boss that you were potentially talking about, where it felt like
Yeah, this is the one that they're
fighting
like
Fox
it's.
on Final Destination.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um. Yeah.
I'm
All right.
excited.
I'm excited as well. Moving on. Moving on to our next thing. By the way, I hope you enjoyed your vacation, Golden Rose
I
guy.
did. I did. I played a lot of video games, read a lot of books, swam a lot of swims,
Swam a lot of
drank
swims in the middle of the lake.
approximately 50 Bud Light limes.
That's
No,
so.
I didn't drink that much by
Uh,
myself, but we did go through 4 cases of 18 Bud Light limes together. So
that's crazy.
played a lot of
Not
drinking
really.
games.
Aging out of genres.
Yeah, we get old. We're older than
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we are. We're older than we're younger, as one might say.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
you brought this.
yeah, I
What?
brought this because I was thinking a lot while watching my friends play games. Um, and there's like kind of 2 or 3 different genres that I really have. 2 of them can be kind of condensed into one, but we'll get there I'll get there on the way.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately because of like my own personal history with gaming, how it came to be, and how I got exposed to more genres as a kid, and my love of being 7 years old, way too early to play Diablo 1, playing Diablo 1, and loving Diablo 2 and playing that like religiously, to how there's not an inch of my body that is interested in playing an action RPG in that kind of loot based kind of like gameplay cycle ever again. I was watching my friends play um, Path of Exile 2, and I was watching somebody play, I think, no Rest for the Wicked, which is similar but not exactly the same. And I just like found myself being like, why doesn't this appeal to me in the same way that Diablo 1 and 2 did as a kid, as like the little I played, like the as Torchlight did um when it came out. And I was like, what changed there? Was kind of like what I was thinking when I brought this up. Um and part of it I felt was like the speed of it is completely different than it was. And part of it feels way more like ADD in a way. And I don't mean
Okay.
that super negatively, but it seems like a lot of these games, so when I watch them play and I try playing them, which is Path of Exile 1, I mean, is feels a lot of times you just walk into an area and you like click a button, everything on the screen dies or you die. Like it's just like that's just how it works now with like this kind of the optimization of like how you build a character and how the difficulty ramps and whatnot. And I was like, this isn't fun anymore. And the feeling when something you loved at one time just like is no longer fun is feels very disheartening, I
Yeah.
guess I would say. And you're just like, why am I doing this? So I literally like I remember just being like, I was playing it with friends, we were like leveling up together, and I'm like, I'm gonna uninstall the game. I'm just not enjoying this. Like I don't even enjoy it as like playing a game, just blowing up things on screen. Like it just like I was like, I don't need to be doing this.
Yeah.
Um I would, and just to really to go down in the chat, I would argue Baldur's Gate 3 is a different type of game to it, where like you can play Baldur's Gate 3 slow and play it more turn-based style than you would play something like a Diablo or a Path of Exile or whatnot. So I love Baldur's Gate 3. I'll play that game any day of the week. But I wanted to ask you, like, do you have any like this?
So I think for me, my first thought thinking about this was like first person shooters.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a part of that is the twitchiness
Mm-hmm.
to a lot of it. Um, I it For first person shooters, my history is almost like, and this is why it's like hard for me to choose that exactly as just like the genre, but like like my history with first person shooters is mostly just like Halo. Like I was a Halo kid all through
Mm-hmm.
high school. Um, Halo was my shooter. Never super got into Call of Duty. I've played it. I've played other first person shooters. And it was always just like Halo was the one for me. So although first person shooters was my first thought, I think part of it is also just like Halo was really the only first person shooter I was into anyway. Um, but what it had me start thinking about is um, there are a lot of multiplayer first person shooters that still just like come and go and I appreciate from a distance basically. Um, and then single player first person shooters. Um, there's a little bit more appeal or grab to that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it's not a balancing act against other people. It's like a balancing act against like just how it feels and looks like for myself. Um, and I think a lot of what I've like kind of grasped is it has to do with the amount of time it takes to put into the game. Um, and I think Destiny goes back to like maybe like one of the first examples for me that I can use where like it's made by Bungie. They made Halo. Um, it is like a cooperative experience. It feels very good. Um, but it's the amount of time that it takes to put in to Destiny to continue to enjoy it is, I think, where I'm growing out of things. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, I've played other multiplayer shooters that I've enjoyed for short periods of time, but they were also like, there's like a shorter attention span needed for it almost, you know? Um, and I think that's a part of it. It's basically like, and it's not the amount of time to get good, right? I
Mm-hmm.
like Super Smash Brothers. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've the MOBAs, like there are those like strictly multiplayer games that I can still enjoy and appreciate. I might be bad, and it might take a long time to get good, but I don't have to grind for items. I don't have to
Yeah.
find for equipment to get to that
Mm-hmm.
point. Um, and I think a part of that also falls onto like a game like Diablo, where it's like that grind towards an item that is just stats. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've said it many times before. It's why I love Sea of Thieves. There isn't any of that in Sea of Thieves. I'm just hopping in and playing the game. And if I play it today, um, I'm not missing anything that anyone else experienced other than cosmetics or maybe some specific mission types, like story, like time limited story events or something like that. But like, I don't go into the game and get on a boat and I'm like, man, this guy's got a level 57 orange cannon on his boat. I lose. It's just strictly how skilled I am. And like, I am way more okay with feeling like I lost because they played the game and are better than me rather than I lost and they had a they played the game during this event and they got the special shotgun that has added knockback or whatever.
Yeah.
Um so like it's hard to like nail down a genre as it is just like certain types of commitments that
Yeah, and like I guess like certain like game not gameplay loops maybe, but like ways the microtransactions work. I don't know. Yeah.
maybe because like we were just talking about Hollow Knight, Silk Song.
Hmm.
If it takes 30 plus hours to play through that game, like that's okay with me. If I'm playing a game and it's like it takes me 30 hours so I can get this gun, that's something that I've like just like yeah, grown past. Um I there's too many games and there's like my wife and just my job and the rest of my life where it's like I put my time goes other places. I can't just throw that much time into stats
Yeah.
for a
One of
game.
the things that I found interesting, like you mentioned Destiny, which kind of like interacts with like one of the other genre that kind of fuses with Diablo, I think, in a way, bear with me, is like not even necessarily a genre, but like is looter shooters in general, stuff like Borderlands and like what Destiny has become or what has always has been. And like I would with Borderlands, I think a part of it is one, there's a cartoonishly evil man running the show. Um,
Every
but
time
also
every time we
every
saw
time.
Borderlands at PAX West, I turned to Tara and I was like, and we don't care about this game.
um, um, but like those games, I did enjoy one and more so two as young, and then when I tried to replay that like forever ago, like now like 6+ years ago, I was like, oh, this just like isn't funny, and the gameplay loop, like like the I think the looter shooter, the just that type of gameplay, the rolling for equipment, constantly just like fighting the same thing in order to try to get a certain type of drop, stopped being interesting to my lizard brain. I eventually just stopped getting serotonin from it, and like I get serotonin from goddamn Vampire Survivors, like that that concept of like that like gambling kind of nonsense hits me. But like I like I played Destiny 1 for like a decent amount, and then I was like, yeah, it's a commitment. It's doesn't feel good to not get what you're looking for and having to do the same thing over and over
Yeah.
again to just like try to get what you're looking for is like I play enough RPGs. I play enough of farming, like kind of I farm for things in RPGs occasionally. Um, I don't, and that's like turn my brain off, like kind of thing. But like a game like Destiny requires a little bit more of an active brain,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm a little bit more present when I like am just like killing a mob. Uh, and I was just like, yeah, it's just not fun. It's just I don't get it anymore. And like I'm sure it feels really good to get what you're looking for, but it's not worth me not playing something I like more, right? I
Yeah.
think it's what it comes down to. I'd rather play like an indie game that I can play for like 10 hours, or I'd rather play like something with an end, which is like really what it comes down to is that like I think all of these kind of things turn into these forever games kind of, and I don't I'm not I can't commit to one thing. I can't commit to anything, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
uh and I wish I could, but because I know plenty of people that are like, yeah, I play one game and I spend all my time and I don't have to spend $20 a week to buy the indie game that's 8 hours long or whatever,
Yeah.
or something like that. Like they can just play Destiny 2 and pay for their subscription fee or whatever, the DLC, their MMO that is the only thing they've ever touched in 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
Um,
And like Lucid brought up like roguelites in chat, and it
mm,
had me thinking like there are things in like I'll use like Dead Cells as an example because I played a lot of Dead Cells,
sure did.
and there are certain like blueprints for weapons that only drop from certain enemy types. So there might be something where I'm like, "Oh, I I want that bow. It drops from
Mm,
this type of enemy." So when I play, I might continuously go back to, because it has like the branching paths. I'm like, all right, I'm always going to take this path this way to make sure I fight that guy. We'll see if I can get it. Nope,
mm,
didn't get it. Keep playing. And then like next one, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go there again and do it. And like, that is so much more okay with me because like, one, I'm not going against anything. I just want it for my own play style, basically, and just for the
yeah.
opportunity. Um, Whereas like grinding for that drop in an MMO or like a Destiny or something like that, a big part of it for me is like after you get it, there's always another one. There's all like that's kind of like part of the almost like I guess of the loop in a lot of these games. It's just like grinding out over and over and over again for the new armor set.
Hmm.
And then like you do it again and for a new armor set. And it's not to have like a fun play style. It's to keep up,
Yeah.
right? And that's the part that's like
Hmm.
I've grown out of trying to keep up.
Exactly, and it just it feels like I guess like the part it feels so predatory in a way to like keep you
Yeah.
little like fish hook to keep coming back to keep, and I'm just like, why would I do that when I can play something with an end almost?
Yeah.
And I guess other people would look at me and be like, why would I play something with an end when I play something for, and like so like there's a disconnect there.
And I understand anyone who loves that, but it's not me.
The other a very similar thing I was going to say is that like the hero shooter genre, not a very long genre, but I was really into alpha and beta Overwatch for a long time and release Overwatch for a good amount of time.
Hmm.
Um, until I uh realized that like and because that was easier for me to stomach because it's like it was a game that I played with friends. I was on comms, play with strangers. It was in the same way that like I enjoyed Heroes of Storm at the time. It was a competitive game that I played with my friends instead of a competitive game that I played against my friends. That
Hmm.
was way more easier for my brain to deal with. But then I started realizing that everyone's mental state just started getting worse. Like while playing it, like my friends would get mad at the game, they would get mad at like things that were happening, and like they would like not even like necessarily aggressively mad, but I could tell that like they're just like oh like
Yeah.
disgruntled and annoyed. And I'm like, and I was like, why the fuck are we doing this then? Like this isn't fun.
Um, I've never gotten into a hero shooter. I didn't get into
Mm-hmm.
Overwatch, not into Marvel Rivals. Like there's never really been one that's like I've gotten into it and it's hooked me. But I was I it was during the Sonic Crossworlds streams that Domo was doing. And
Mm-hmm.
he had people on Discord calls and they were talking about like, like what are we going to do after the test is over? And like a couple people were like, I guess it's just like back to Marvel Rivals. And then they started talking about Marvel Rivals together miserably. Like nothing positive. It was just like constant misery is like how they were talking about it. Like there was never anything where they were like, "Oh, I'm so excited for like," cuz even that was a thing too. It was like another thing was like there was no excitement for heroes that
Mm-hmm.
were coming out. It was like it was like, and now they've got these heroes coming out and it's more DPS. We don't even need DPS. We have too many It's just like everything was just like hero shooters just deteriorate people's happiness and keeps them
Mm-hmm.
hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I'm sad enough in reality to like I don't need to double down on things that are gonna make me feel worse when I again like
Yeah.
I could play a story with an end. I could play like something like I could play like a cozy hike on any given day and have a
Yeah.
way better time
It
walking around that world that's a little burnt
and like
than I would.
it's weird because like we played a lot of Heroes of the Storm
Hmm.
and like it's not a shooter, but like in the same way, it's like it's a MOBA. It's a 5-on-5. Everyone's playing certain characters with certain roles, just like a hero shooter. Um,
Hmm.
and like I don't ever feel like there was never that feeling in Heroes of the Storm as compared to like the way people are in like Overwatch. Not with us at
Yeah,
least, not with like us and the people we played with. Like,
yeah, and I really wonder like why that was. I mean, it could have been just like time
yeah,
and like the time that it was happening and the friends that we have, but like a lot of those people I played like the same friends
yeah,
that eventually played these hero storms. So I wonder if there is something about like the um hmm, like not necessarily like the more like technical skill. I don't know. Like
mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna. I don't. I mean that sounds like I'm saying that it's harder to play a shooter than it is to play a MOBA, and I don't know if I'm gonna make that statement. But something along those lines where like you feel a little in a shooter, so you first when you fuck up. Maybe.
Maybe, maybe I don't know,
Maybe.
maybe,
Um. Yeah.
yeah.
And I guess and then I guess my final statement is, and I would go back.
You cut out your final statements. What?
My final the final thing I don't want to spend too much time on it is that like I don't know if I care to ever buy a sports game again. Like,
Okay,
it,
not something I
like,
thought about. Maybe I grew out of
uh
sports games.
yeah, like you could convince me to play Madden for a day, I think, and
Yeah.
then I would be like, all right, I don't. This is like an old, like it's like seeing an old friend you have in 20 years. That would be what it would be like for me, I think.
Yeah, I have thought about this too, so I don't know why it wasn't something that came up, but like I haven't bought a Madden or like a baseball game
Hmm.
in years, and it was something that I used to buy. I used to buy Madden, I used to buy uh different baseball games, uh a couple NBA games, but like if I'm buying a sports game now, it's like it's not a simulated game,
Hmm.
right? It's not a game that's I'm buying NFL Blitz, you know. I'm not buying
Yeah, I'm
Madden.
finding a way to play Blitz now.
I'm not buying a Madden. I'm buying a game like a Blitz or a Jam or like some sort of or
Hmm.
like like Strikers, you know,
Hmm.
Rocket League. Like those are
Yeah,
sports games, but like they're not real, you know.
they're more arcadey.
Yeah.
For I think Lucian in the chat said Mario sports games, and I guess the last sports game I put a lot of time into was golf when I like decided to get really good at that.
Mhm.
I haven't picked it up really since, so like I did eventually stop playing that, but
Yeah.
I did have fun.
Yeah.
So
Also,
it's probably you.
last like to compare like the last sports game that I tried to get really good at was in like 2009, 2000, yeah, probably like 2009, 2008, something like that.
Or I knew you.
Like that. And it was like MLB Sluggers, an arcadey sports game. So like yeah, that like sports simulator. There's part of those games that I always think is cool, but it's like the management stuff for it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And at a certain point, I'm like, why don't I just put like out of the or something like that? But then I'm
Yeah.
way out of my depth.
Yeah. And
Uh,
there's also, just announced I think today on 9/9 they are releasing Backyard Football 99,
mm,
re-releasing, I guess. Which
maybe I'll try that.
I said this since the backyard games were like started to be talked about and they were going to come back. I loved backyard
Pablo.
I loved backyard baseball. I think backyard soccer was the one I had the most fun with.
Yeah, Backyard Soccer was the one I played so too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Do you know what? What I was gonna say? I was gonna say as a bit. I was like, if there's one sports game that I think you and I should try to get good at, it barely qualifies, but you and I should make a sick ass Windjammers 2 duo team.
I own that game. So I can play Windjammers. It's good shit.
Mm,
Uh, yeah. All right, I'm down.
yep.
All right, next topic.
Woo.
This came up because I saw it on Twitter one day,
Yeah.
where somebody was talking about, I think it was Hollow Knight. Uh, and no, Lucy said no, not Windjammers. I don't think. They were talking about. Oh, maybe no to the topic title. Sorry, is A Link to the Past a Metroidvania? No. Um,
Mm,
there's a Twitter post where somebody I think was describing Hollow Knight and like trying to
yes.
figure out like the hype around it and like why people are so into it. And a commenter on the post said, in more words than this, they're basically like Hollow Knight for me was the best Metroidvania since A Link to the Past.
It's
And
such a funny statement. Such a funny fucking statement. But continue.
and then the person who like okay, for reference, do you know you kind of know Slime from like the
Yeah,
yard?
I
It
I'm aware of slime
it
because of
was
you. people.
it was Slime who was like asking about Hollow Knight. You people. Um, Slime was asking about Hollow Knight basically, and got the comment from somebody being like, "It's the best Metroidvania since A Link to the Past." And then Slime like quote retweeted it and was like, "Hollow Knight fans are cooked if they're calling A Link to the Past a Metroidvania." Um, and then like I even chimed in. I was like, because I thought about it, and I was like, I think I understand your argument. I don't think it's a Metroidvania though. Um, and so it got me thinking more about if it is A Link to the Past, or if A Link to the Past is a Metroidvania. So I guess to start, I'll just
We
pass
have
it
to
to you.
define,
I,
right? I mean, if we have to start. We have to define what Metroidvania,
yeah. So
right?
or first, what I want to do is just
Mm-hmm.
off the bat ask you: Is A Link to the Past a Metroidvania?
It's hard because let me tell you, if I have to sit here and consider, you know those memes that are formatted like something purist, something absurdist, something surrealist or whatever, right? And like it's like a snake is like a purist version of a snake, but then like is a snake like a worm is like the absurd, like you know what I'm. Have you seen that meme format?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You're on a
Because
weird
like if
side of
I
the
have to
internet.
sit here, if I have to consider Metroid Prime, Batman Arkham, Metroidvanias, 3D Metroidvanias, so like that already blows out like certain aspects, like the 2D kind of aspects of it. So we have to. It doesn't necessarily need to be a side scroller. Um, if I have to consider, I'm gonna say yes. It is. I'm gonna say right now before we dive. I'm gonna say fuck it. Link to the Past is a Metroidvania.
Okay, cool. So now,
Uh-huh.
what is a Metroidvania?
Yeah.
Um,
If I
part of
Let me
it,
not look at Google AI. Let me look at the. Let's
yeah.
find another better.
Um, what makes so part of it is uh the progression through the game, where
Mm-hmm.
sections of the game you go through, and then new options open up with new items or abilities that you've
Yeah.
gathered,
Yeah.
right?
If I was to think about what a Metroidvania meant, and like the first thing I would say is that yeah, I could see somewhere that I could go later if I had said ability, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I knew that if I unlocked double jumping, I could go over there. If I unlocked some kind of bomb, I could go,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't yet, so I need to explore more to find that. That's like the most basic way I would describe Metroidvania at first.
And then another aspect I think is just like the like interconnected like map,
Mm-hmm.
because that's a big part of it with like that like back travel basically are you're able to seamlessly travel from point A to point B along a path, and then you can get back to point A sometimes by the same path, sometimes by a different path. Just like it's like if in a traditional sense, a 2D sense,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're going screen from screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it all connects. Unlike something like like a Super Mario World where it's like level 1-1, 1-2, one
Mm-hmm.
three, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's interconnected in a way that like there isn't that over breakup
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah. Um, so yeah, is there anything else that you would say like makes something a Metroidvania?
Um, item movement, larger map. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I would consider absolutely necessary. like looking through an explanation and whether or not I care about it. Yeah, no, I think that's the purest form. Those are the two most important.
Okay. Um, and like it's your argument because you're saying it is A Link to the Past. You're gonna say, yeah, it is a Metroidvania. Um,
Uh-huh.
in A Link to
I
the
would. I
Past,
mean,
the world map is all interconnected with each
mm-hmm,
other, right?
mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes.
and uh, you can travel to and from
Mm-hmm.
places where certain segments are gated by an item that you would get. Um, even if it's like, I guess in like its like simplest form, like in A Link to the Past, you can't just enter any dungeon and do it.
Yeah,
You,
you need like bombs to open up to destroy the statues to get to
yeah.
one or whatever.
So there are segments of the
Years.
map, and then even other than that, you know, as again as an example of with the bombs, there are parts of the map that you can come back to with bombs and open a new path.
Mm-hmm. And
Um,
like get new items and what that help
yeah.
your adventurers health typically.
So this is where I came in on that comment with this person, where I was just like, I didn't get into a discussion with this person. I had the discussion in my head with myself because I didn't want to do it on the internet.
Of course.
But I was just like, that's what I thought. I was like, I understand the points that are made for A Link to the Past being a Metroidvania.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about it where I'm still saying it's just not. And I think part of that is because of just how stupid genres have become.
For sure.
Um, like so, um, I'll jump to the chat real quick. Lucid, some of the points Lucid made for why Lucid thinks it's not a Metroidvania. There isn't jumping verticality to it. Uh, it isn't like Metroid or Symphony of the Night, which in you know
Pass of the wing shoes. Am I going to be pedantic about this?
for or like the feather jumping.
Yeah, yeah. How pedantic am I going to be about it?
Because if I am thinking about like
I get your boots here.
Metroidvanias, like I do
No, some high speed ones.
I do think that sort of like jumping and platforming is prevalent. Um, I don't know if for me, I don't know if it is a defining factor in Metroidvania, but I do think it's extremely prevalent in like the genre. Like I think a majority or most Metroidvanias have some sort of platforming in it. Even like Metroid Prime
Mm-hmm.
has it's a 3D world and it still does have some verticality to it. What else did Lisa say? Let's see. Having to traverse a map to get into dungeons instead of just being in the dungeon is something I wouldn't consider Metroidvania quality. They mentioned they feel Metroidvanias are just one huge dungeon as well, and like that's something that like was along the lines of my thought for the genre. Like something I was thinking is like um the way it has something to do with the way things are gated where um uh, it's hard. It's
I,
hard. It's hard to
yeah,
argue against it because like I like in the end I'm just like no, it's not. But like getting to a dungeon
Uh-huh.
Like, and then being told like by the game basically like, oh well, I can't do the dungeon because I didn't get the boomerang yet.
Would
Um,
you consider Tunic a Metroidvania?
would I consider Tunic a Metroidvania? I never, when I described the game in the past, I don't think I ever described it as a Metroidvania. It was
Mm-hmm.
a Souls like Zelda game. A Souls like top down Zelda.
Would you consider Dark Souls a Metroidvania?
Would I consider Dark Souls a Metroidvania? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
No.
All right. I wouldn't necessarily either, but some people say it has Metroidvania aspects.
And
But
this is where like we don't need to get into it much, but this is where genres are just dumb.
yeah, I agree.
Genres are
I don't
just a
disagree.
big
Uh,
blob of mess. But
mm-hmm.
for the sake of discussion,
Sake of the argument.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um. So yeah. Yeah. There's something about like in Zelda, it's dungeons that don't feel Metroidvania like to me with the progression of like getting to and then completing a dungeon. Um. It almost feels as if the dungeon breaks that interconnected world. Almost. Like again, I
Mm-hmm.
see the argument. Um I think part of like
Just another room. It's just moving. I mean, like, yeah,
right.
it's just.
I think part of the like that feeling for me of it like kind of breaking that
Mm-hmm.
interconnected world is like the one path in, one path out kind of thing, maybe. Um
Okay.
but there is something to me that feels like yeah, the dungeons just like break that for me.
I will say in Link to the Past, there's exactly one dungeon that I remember in the woods, I think. Access it via pulling up shrubs and falling down a hole so you can get to it twice in one.
Mm-hmm.
Just to nitpick your arguments. It
that
really doesn't really do anything, but just to nitpick the wording of it.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so here's my thing. I think that it's and I'm arguing for, despite I'm rather ambivalent about it, is that yeah, you need to like you can't beat X dungeon until you get the ice rod. You have to get ice rod in a cave, not in the dungeon. Um or something similar. Like there's plenty of things like that, and those are Metroidvania like staples. You can't progress until you find X item. That X item is hidden somewhere on the map in something like Metroid, Super Metroid. You have to you do like your little ball roll and you find a place that gives you missiles allow you to open up and blast open a door that allows you to get like double jump or spark jump or whatever. Like so that's like half of the genre is based off Super Metroid, right? And half the genre is made off based off of Symphony of the Night. I would argue that Symphony of the Night has a lot in common with Zelda. I would argue that it takes Metroid principles and mixes them with Zelda. So I guess what I would say is that even if Link to the Past is not a Metroidvania, it is a proto Metroidvania. It has a lot in common with the genre and created a lot of the concepts of the genre before the genre like fully came into being, as we know it today.
I
Uh,
think so that is like almost like the timing is like spot on with like my fake argument I had on the internet with this person and myself was genres now are a mess. Big
mhm.
blob. Um when this game released, I do not think they would have called it a Metroidvania. They would like I don't think
Okay,
Metroidvania
well,
was a thing.
no,
Like I don't
no,
think
and first
people
of all, and as we learned the other time in Japan, they're not called Metroidvanias at all. They're puzzle platformers.
they're puzzle platformers.
No, puzzle adventurers, something like that. It was something I can look it up again. Um, Also, just for the timeline, so we know. Super Metroid. I I was talking and I typed in something completely different. Super Metroid is 1994. Symphony
Okay.
Nights 1997. Link to the Past in Japan 1991. So it does predate all of them. So I think that it just like it just predates the genre, and it doesn't have everything that the genre has, but it influenced it a lot,
Um,
right? That's really what it comes down to in my brain.
I yeah, I think that's part of it for sure is probably that like, but even so, like, I
And then
get
what I call Minish Cap.
part of it is my like lack of knowledge, I guess, on it, but like you specified Super Metroid and Symphony of the Night,
Mm-hmm.
and like Lucid is saying Metroid was before, not like just not Super Metroid, but they did mention Symphony of the Night specifically. If you know,
I would argue Metroid One isn't a Metroidvania.
okay,
If you,
that was kind of gonna be like like my question is like, what about earlier Metroid or Castlevania games is different from the ones where we are considering like help to define the genre?
I actually take back a little bit. I think you could call Metroidvania in the same way that you can call Sympathy of the Night a Metroid. I mean, in the same way you can call Link to the Past a Metroidvania.
Okay.
No. Again, there's a lot in Metroid that adds to the Metroid half
Mhm.
of Metroidvania, but I think a lot of people will take the DNA of Super Metroid and say that that's really what set it apart as like a genre, because there's a lot more um like of that backtracking item, like you looking at something and going, oh, I can get there but I can't get there yet.
Mhm.
um Lucian in the chat said early Castlevania was a hallway simulator. That's not far off. It's like early Castlevania is almost like a Contra, honestly. Um, except for that, like instead of just going left to right the entire time, you're going like left to slightly up right to slightly up left to
Uh,
slightly like you're.
mhm.
It's pretty much that type of video game, and doesn't have a lot of the backtracking stuff until I mean, Rondo of Blood kind of does with like the day night cycles, but I haven't played enough Rondo of Blood to speak on it. But it's really with Symphony when they added a lot of the Zelda things, and they added a lot more of like like a lot more items, a lot more types of items needed, and exploration. That I think that the genre really kind of came into its own when people are like, oh, like I mean, obviously at that point everyone was like, oh, this game reminds me of Metroid and Metroidvania, so it's a Metroidvania.
Yeah, to keep going on like like the time frame stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There just being less games and less potential genres, I guess, back then.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, genres just being like less muddied. Uh, I think that's a big reason why like my brain doesn't look at A Link to the Past as a Metroidvania
Mm-hmm.
is because the the small differences look bigger
Mm-hmm.
with a
That makes
smaller
sense.
pool of games, you know?
That totally makes sense.
Um, and like if I think about A Link to the Past, I played it a long time ago. So like that helps
Mm-hmm.
factor in where it's just like, well, it's not like Metroid for this reason. But then again, there are games that are new. Eh, maybe just from the whole muddy genre thing, where like I look at and I'm like, oh yeah, it kind of is a Metroidvania, huh? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and like I could see why people would do that with this. And I'm not upset about it. I think it's kind of funny.
I think it's really funny. That's why
Yeah,
I took the yes part of this
yeah,
because
yeah,
I was like, it's an absurd thing to say, and like, but like even like again to talk about like Zelda for the longest time is considered an RPG. I don't consider this a goddamn RPG ever in my life, and You can't convince me that it's an art role playing game.
Yeah, I guess like
I would just tell you if I were to if somebody asked me what type of game is Legend of Zelda, I would just say action adventure. That's just like what my brain
yeah,
makes sense with.
yeah, top down action adventure, puzzle adventure. Yeah, like um I agree. I agree with that. Yeah.
Uh, but like at the same time, just like the further off, like Outer Wilds is a Metroidvania, and that's only a Metroid. Like the only tools you need for integration in that game are things you like you learn in your
Knowledge.
brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Um
like you just keep on.
yeah. All right. Well, I think
Video
that's
games are cool.
yeah, and yeah, genres are stupid, video games are cool.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, I think that's it for this. I think is like I think what it comes down to for me, like my ending statement on it is like if you think that A Link to the Past is a Metroidvania, that's fine. I
You know,
whatever.
like a former president said, it's like porn. I know it when I'll see it, and that's me with Metroidvanias.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Last thing. Last thing we've
Oh,
got.
I also on my final thing about Zelda is I think I would argue very
Oh, you cut out.
more than Link to the Past.
You cut
Oh,
out. You
I
would
was just
argue.
even more strongly that Ocarina or Majora's specifically are Mania like than Link to the Past.
Okay.
And then I would argue that A Link Between Worlds is definitely not because of the system in which you buy items. I think might destroy it from
Mm-hmm.
being
Mm-hmm.
Metroidvania.
Okay.
It's an interesting concept
Yeah.
to go down.
Yeah. That's what it's
Yeah,
when I saw it on the internet and then continued to like type something out and then delete it and then type something and delete it. I was like, this is like an interesting and fun concept to go through with people I know, with somebody that I
yeah.
like. I don't need you to yell at me on the internet. Um,
Fuck do you mean? No.
yeah. But yeah, so
JRP.
finally, Chow, I guess I should say our Chow Garden game pitch. Um, we have talked about a Chow Garden game forever, right?
Yeah, this is you and I since gosh darn what feels like 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever, like, I mean, we knew each other for like 4 days in 2012. So 2013 have yapped about how why the god darn heck there's not a Chow Garden game, any like period. And then it got our clamoring got worse and worse, I think, as time moved on, and more avenues for just a stupidly successful Chow Garden game came into being.
Yeah, I agree. So, um, I guess I'll start this off with starting today, right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can go download the demo.
Oh, I didn't see that this was out.
You can download the demo for the game called Star Garden. Um,
Why are there two downloads?
the trial and the trial. Good question. I don't know why there are two. But you can go download this game, Star Garden, or the demo for it. And like this game basically pitches itself as city trials from Kirby Air Riders with a Chow Garden, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that kind of kicks off my my start with making a Chow Garden game
Mm-hmm.
is it I don't think it can just be the Chow Garden. Because, like, if you go Sonic Adventure 2,
Mm-hmm.
you can't only play the Chow Garden.
No,
You
you
have to
cannot.
you have to interact with other
Like
portions of the game.
this platformer, this
Yeah.
3D Metro. No.
So
Yeah.
so I guess, like, Star Garden, for example, the way it
Mm-hmm.
works is it has its Kirby Air Ride uh city trials thing going on. You get resources from that. You bring it back to your garden. You feed it to this thing, not a chow, but whatever. And then in Star Garden, that I'll call it a chow. But the chow
Mm-hmm.
that you're raising, you know, you give it different stats from different things and this and that. That chow becomes your machine that you're riding on, that you're then using in kind of like the city trials thing. Um, which is potentially a road I could see a Chow game maybe needing to do, where in Sonic Adventure 2, the 3D platforming feeds into the Chow Garden. The Chow Garden does not then feed back into the 3D platforming. If you're
Mm-hmm.
making a game where you're like, you want the Chow Garden to be the big thing, if you have a way to get the resources for the Chow Garden, I think there needs to be like a back and forth a little bit. That's the beginning. I don't know if you have anything
Okay.
to
Yeah, I
think.
mean, do you want me to go off on one of my pitches?
Go
I
off,
have
yeah.
two. I have two pitches. I have the corporate overload, the one that I would pitch to a room of sea suits, and I would make billions of dollars,
Okay.
or the one I would actually like.
Should I take this podcast down so nobody can steal
Yeah,
this?
nobody can steal this now. I mean, it's really obvious. Is that you make a Chow Garden like pet raising game? You take a mobile game. You take something in the same vein as like maybe Unamusume. I don't know how to pronounce it. You play
Uma
it. You're
Musume.
the one who can pronounce it. Unamusume. But you take it in a concept where you have your Chow, and maybe you like the game hook. What I would make is like you're right. There has to be like a 1A B kind of to this, and you play like a runner or something basic, right? And you playing that like endless runner, like it's just like a little side scroller thing, gets you points or whatever that you can use to change your Chow's stats. And then the big part of the game is that you bring your Chow to compete with other people's Chows in some sort of tournament.
Mm-hmm.
In Sonic Adventure 2, there there's like the karate, but then there's also the races, and then there's I think one other one I can't think of the top of my head. Um and you do something like that, and it feeds and that will get you more points that you can use to feed into like your Chow, or it might feed back into like the runner aspect. But basically, yeah, and you just make it like that, and you monetize the shit out of this game. Like you can be super predatory with it, and I think it just being a Chow Garden pet raising sim would make a lot of money. And like I've on record of like a lot of like um yeah, okay, Lucid said it. Yeah, you have little cosmetics for the chows. You have your little guys, and them like you can buy. And long gone are the days of like just breaking an egg and getting an egg as a hat. Now you have to buy that eggshell hat.
Right.
Uh, you have to buy, like, you can maybe earn enough like by playing the game, right? Of course, like to get it, like to get the cosmetics eventually, but you want it now, you have to buy a little witch hat for the chow or so. um I really think that's the most like easy. Like that's how you get them to make a Chow Garden game.
Yeah.
I don't. It's not the one I want. But I think that would work. I think that would work really well. Would I? I've been on record for like not liking the gotcha game UIs and a lot of that stuff. And not playing them really. Uh, but maybe I'd play this game just because it's a Chow.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
have a Chow sticker on my guitar. It says I'm gonna lose my new.
And you said you had another pitch also, right?
Yeah, my real pitch is way closer. Um, and again, it has a 1A 1B thing, but I think you make it a Sega party game, like a Mario Party clone with chows, but you get to customize your own chow.
Okay.
Um, so you play the game, and ultimately there's a winner to the whatever game like kind of mechanic we're using. If it's like the Sonic Dreamcast one or not, or Saturn, I don't remember what it came out for. Um, or if it's like a Mario Party or that Muppets game that I want to play.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
dude, the Muppets Cruise, I gotta play that so
Yeah.
badly. So yeah, you have your little chows, your little customizable guys, and you go on and play with other people. Um, you earn points. That points allows you to like go back into the chow garden and buy like little like items for him, cosmetics for him, maybe little like stat boosts. For like other special modes. Like it's like there's the parody mode, which is just the party map, the board game. But then there's like you can play certain mini games in the same way that a lot of Mario parties have. Um, Mini games that like I feel like 5 people touch. That are more like different experiences using like the controllers and whatnot. But you have like different ones where you're like you can shout to this and eat in like a game that's more hands off, similar to Adventure 2 with like that you can cheer them on energy meter kind of stuff going on. Um, but yeah, I think you just make it a party game. You make it like a little like that's based around the chows. I want the chows to be in the forefront of this video game, not
Yeah.
like in the past where it was like Sonic and chows, and it's really a Sonic game, but we all play it for the chow simulator. I want to be chows are the main character. Mm-hmm. And
Um,
chaos is there, and then make me go, whoa! Things from Frontier that eventually become
mhm,
chows.
mhm. I do. So I agree where the sort of like party aspect
Mm-hmm.
is a big part of it. Like the party games that you play and compete with your chows, um, like is a big part of it. It can't just like there like I think it's not enough for like just to be like, okay, if there's this like 1A, 1B thing, right? It's not just like, all right, I go out in the world, I collect resources, I come back, I give it to my chow. My chow gives me more stuff to go out into the world to go get more resources to go back and give my chow more stuff. And like, I got a new chow now, and I do this like
Mm-hmm.
same thing. Um, Having those mini games is like a big focal point.
Mm-hmm.
One thought that I had um, was almost like a Pokemon Go aspect
Okay.
where
These ARGs.
yeah, it's not perfect. I think the ARG stuff is potentially played out a little bit. Like I don't like there have been other ones that
There's a Monster Hunter one. There's a Pikmin one. There's
like
a
and I don't know how popular those are.
yeah.
Um but a thought is going out into the world to collect potential
Mm-hmm.
resources. Maybe you use your chow to get those resources in some way or multiple chows, whatnot. But it can be something where it's just like, you go out, you get some steps, you visit uh the movie theater, which has some sort of garden in it where you get these vegetables and you collect those, and when you go back to into your garden on your phone, into your chow garden, you can feed you can give your
Mm-hmm.
chows the rabbits, and now they have ears and their speeds go a little faster. Um, and then you can play in the uh speed mini game online with people or with friends. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard to come up with the perfect thing
Mm-hmm.
in my mind.
Do you? I'm gonna age us so hard if you
Okay.
remember this. Do you remember that the old gosh darn like commercials for those things they'd sell us where you scan a barcode and then you get like a little guy like in this digital like thing or
Kinda,
whatever.
yeah. Yes.
So so taking the Pokemon Go ARG aspect, taking the Chow thing, taking how Chows interact with certain creatures and certain things and get more powerful or more stamina,
Hmm.
we have to mix the two. We have to find like this ARG formula of like, oh, you brought your Chow to, and it will, Niantic's gonna own all of our data anyway eventually, and you take them to like the grocery store or whatever, and your Chow gets like a certain bump in something. You have to your phone knows that you're there, so you get like a bump there, or you take them to like a pond. I don't know. I have no gosh darn clue, but we're making it work. One of them. We got to go out and move
You
to
brought
make our Chow stronger.
you brought your chow to the park.
Mm-hmm.
Uh there's yeah, rabbits at the park.
Mm-hmm.
Your chow, I don't know. See, that's part of it though. Is I don't know if I want to like I think you have to make that choice to give your chow something, not just like you brought them here, they get this.
That's fair.
Um what do they say? Place
Because we're gonna keep the like most things strengthen one thing and weaken another system.
yeah,
To keep that right. Okay.
yeah. Because yeah, like similar to say like gotcha games or like Uma Musume, where when you do like a run in Uma Musume, which in my mind, a run of Uma Musume is almost maybe like the ultra fast version of raising a
Mm-hmm.
Chow, where it's just
Yeah.
like in Uma Musume, you're doing events, getting stats, doing events, getting stats, doing events.
The thing that I really want with this sicko mobile game, Chow Garden game, is that like I really don't want like has you just mentioned how fast Musume is like, and a part of that is like you become a little attached to your um, why aren't they just horses? But but like your Chow is your guy, right? It's
Yeah,
like your Tamagotchi. It's like your Digimon and your little Digivice as a kid. Like that is the thing that like I don't want it to be a thing where you just like reach a point where like, well, I've ruined this Chow. I'm gonna throw it away. I want there has to be a reason to like be incentivized to hold on to your little guy.
yeah, yeah. It's it, it's something where it's like, what is the I don't want to say end of life, but like, what's the end stage for a child? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how does that happen, and what does that look like? Because like you said, um, you don't want it to get to a point where it's just like, well, I messed up this chow, gave him the wrong stuff. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gonna toss him now. Like, uh, to continue to raise that to get it to whatever its end stage is. Like, how does that work and what does that look like? Because I don't think you can't just raise a chow infinitely. You can't just infinitely raise its stats, right?
Yeah, like because like no matter if we're doing anything with a party game mechanic or like
Mm-hmm.
any competitive party game thing, like eventually the end game is that everyone on have the same stats and um so you have we do the parent route, very similar. to a lot of pet raising things. So you have when you start, your Chow has X amount of max values. Think of like how
Mm-hmm.
right has a BST of like 455, or like your Chow might start off closer to like a gosh darn Sunflora or Sunkern, I mean, and have like 300 BST, and so that's like the stats you get to distribute, and then it gets that point, and you can keep your Chow like to hang out with and like do certain types of games with,
Yeah.
but then like the goal is to have you breed these Chows together. I always feel crazy when I'm talking about stuff. And to have now a child, BST basically stat values,
So
and we sell things to make them have a chance to have higher stat values.
so now that's the thing though, because like even
Mm-hmm.
with the like you were saying, like those base stats that get passed
Mm-hmm.
down, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
in Pokemon, it's not just base stats that get passed down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing in like Uma Musume. It's not strictly stats. Um, across both of them, you pass down stats. It goes along with a little bit like their growth rate, like how their
Mm-hmm.
stats grow as they get stronger, but also some sort of abilities or skills.
Mm-hmm.
So now I think here we kind of start expanding a little bit on what a Chow is and has. Because
Mm-hmm.
the way we've been talking about it, the Chow has had stats, cosmetics.
Yeah, in the purest form of like that's like what a Chow has been. That's what we've been talking
Mm-hmm.
about. A Chow is right.
So now,
So then,
and our pitch, do Chows, are there different types of Chows
so
with different
there's
abilities?
always been Hero and Dark, right?
Correct.
So like
Yes.
we expand on that maybe a little bit, and then I think we take abilities and tie them to the animalification. That's a weird. That's like the
I
thing
get what
that
you're
happens,
saying
right?
though. Yeah.
Yeah, they get like, so like if you're a bunny Chow, then you might have an ability tied to that only bunny Chows can have, but maybe you can pass it down to one that might also be able, like a gorilla Chow or whatever, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay.
And then
Cause
eventually you have a smorgasbord Chow.
yeah, because if again if we go through that like gotcha route in Uma Musume, you're raising multiple Umas for multiple scenarios, just like we'd be raising multiple Chows, potentially to specialize in multiple types of game modes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so like yeah, you would be able to specialize in being like, okay, I got this really high level gorilla Chow, and I was able to win like this many events with him, and he got this stuff. I can't he can't grow anymore. I can only do events with him. I now breed him with this uh jumping this rabbit, I don't know, this jumping one, and now I make their child, and I could potentially have someone who's like really strong, but also I don't know. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
sees where we're going with this.
Yeah. I also say I in the pitch also. This is the one thing I will throw to players to make the game actually like fun. I think we have for all the party games or all the different competition games that there are.
Mm-hmm.
I My bone I'll throw to people is that like there are brackets. So like like there's beginner bracket, and it's the same type of game that you can play, but you can only go in beginner's bracket if you have under a certain stat limit, right?
Yeah.
So that you're not like, because I don't want players to be like, well, I'm only playing against maxed out chows or whatever.
Right.
So
No,
I don't want to do that again.
there's like cups that you
Mm-hmm.
can enter into. Um and listen, this is just stuff we've spitballed in what, like 20, 30 minutes? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how has Sega not
Every day of my life, I
not
wonder.
done something? Like, so much of what we have said can be expanded on. It just doesn't make
And it
sense.
feels like a layup. It feels like such a
It
layup, and it's
does.
felt like a layup my entire life.
It no, for real. And like you said it earlier, just like as time's gone on, just like the technology has just like made it feel more relevant. like
Mhm.
like having that mobile Chow Garden game feels easier now than ever.
Yeah, and you know what, Chris? I'm going everywhere with it. Do the mobile Chow Garden game. That takes off, and then eventually you can port your own Chow to the little desktop on the bottom of the screen thing, so you can hang out with your Chow when you're at your work computer or at your regular computer, and he's just on your screen. And then you can bring that Chow to the actual PC game that like you can hang out where you play as your Chow in a open world with other Chows.
So you
It's Chow Mania.
it becomes a Chow chat. You bring
Yeah.
your Chow into a virtual world where you walk around and talk to other people's Chows.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There, I it, the Chowlapalooza must start now.
Chowapalooza. Um. So yeah, I. Oh no. So Lucid said I'd also Pal World with it. Don't call them Chow or Sega's gonna take money from you. We're talking specifically with what Sega should be doing. We want Sega to make
Yeah.
it. Here's what we think Sega should do. Um,
Somebody let me. I need to get some
the
form.
Chow.
I like my life trajectory is to
Yeah,
find a way to get some sort of like money or influence or clout so I can
yeah.
Sega
It's so
of America and be like, we're making this game.
so you take your Chow into the Chow Hangout. You walk around with people. You can do a little bit of fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then that ports back into your mobile game, and you bring it back, and you're like, hey, I caught this stuff while playing Chow Hangout, and I can give it to these other guys now.
I'm going to be in that boardroom and being like, we want people to not stop thinking about chow. You wake up, you think about feeding your chow in the morning. You're in midday, you hang out with your chow while you work. At night, you're hanging out as your chow in the virtual chow space. I'll make this as predatory as possible.
You you wake up, you check your Chow on your phone. Yeah, you go to work. On your way to work, you pass some Chow stops. You spin, you get some resources. You go to work, you sit down, you get your Chow hanging out with you. You're on break, you can play with them, whatnot. And yeah, you go home, you bring your Chow into the Chow hangout. 24/7 Chow across every
Yep.
screen, no matter where you are. There's a different Chow experience. You're at a friend's house, everyone's got a phone. You can challenge their Chows
Mm-hmm.
in up to 8-player multiplayer games. Yeah.
We start assigning your rank as a human being by how strong your chow is. No, just keep going.
What cup
All right.
what cup are you in? Oh,
Yo, what cup you in? Mm.
intermediate, huh?
I mean, you can't actually eat here. Sorry.
Oh, and you're still on your first Chow? Hmm.
Uh,
Okay, I've got 4.
hmm. You have to go to a different hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right, we've done enough just nonsense talk about Chow Garden, I think now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, make it real.
Yep. Yep. Oh, yeah, you got to race with your Chows. For some reason, I'm picturing. Uh, oh my god, what is that Bomberman racing game? I'm thinking that for some reason. It's not a good spot to start, but whatever. Yeah, so that's it. We're done. We talked to Chows.
Yeah.
We
And
talked.
fantasy.
What did we talk about? Let's bring up the topic list again. We talked the games I played, the games you played, then discuss Silk Song, aging out of games, If a Link to the Past is Metroidvania, and Child Gardens. I a packed episode, I think.
Yeah, and I think we nailed it, and like we were right at the time we need to be. I think so.
Yeah,
I'm proud of us.
yeah. Um, so good stuff. Um, we'll be back again next week, probably. I assume.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll have. I'll probably have played some Silk Song. So maybe we talk about that. Maybe we don't. There's a rumor that there's a direct next week.
That's
We might talk about direct stuff.
that's right. So we won't have gotten to it yet by
Yeah,
next Tuesday. My guess
and
is we still won't hear about a direct next Tuesday, and we'll hear about it on Wednesday or Thursday. And
mhm,
then it'll be like it's for the next day.
yeah,
So yeah,
but it is a first party direct. I think it's
that's the guess.
all the rumors are major. It's a major
Yeah,
direct.
the rumors are a direct potentially on the 11th or 12th. It's going
Mhm.
to be a first party huge thing. Metroid Prime 4 release date.
Yeah,
Like
it has to have one.
Silksong got one. Silksong got one. I had a tweet I saw from like let's see when it was actually. It was like at least a year or more ago. Huh? Why? I don't know how to use this lame website. Uh yeah, so
Not
it
anymore.
was from April 17th, 2024. So
Mhm.
like a year and a half ish ago. And I just said Silk Song, Metroid Prime 4, Beyond Good and Evil 2. Which game releases first?
Chris, did you see the Ubisoft fucking leak thing?
The leak?
Yeah, or like the thing where they talk about. Actually, it's not a leak. They talked about the state of all their games.
I only saw
This
the thing
might be a
about
leak.
Rayman.
Yeah, I know there's more to it now.
Oh
Where the
man.
heck did I find this? Do we want to? We can talk about this now. This is breaking news today,
Sure.
or we
We
can.
can do it briefly now.
Yeah, let me find this. Oh my God, how? Where did I find this? It was on this website. Where was it? Search by new. Search
So while you search for that, the
Ubisoft.
thing that I saw was
Mm-hmm.
there was a Rayman, like I think it was like 30th anniversary thing. Just a celebration put on. And um they basically Ubisoft basically came in and were like, we do have two studios working together on a new Rayman game. We don't have much to
Mm-hmm.
say about it. Don't expect us to say anything for a bit about this, but just know we have two teams that are very excited to be working on the next game for Rayman.
Okay, Insider Gaming, specifically Henderson Insider Gaming, said Ubisoft's plans from 2026 to 2027. The Rayman game that you just mentioned is on there. Tentative late 2026. The other projects are there's. I mean, these are a lot of these aren't surprising. Working on these gosh darn games, expecting on. Um, Project Over, which is a Ghost Recon game. Project Hex, which is a Assassin's Creed mainline game. Project North, the Splinter Cell remake, which has been like in the ether for like 7 years.
Yeah.
Project Blackbird, mainline Far Cry. Maverick, a Far Cry extraction shooter, because of course Ubisoft's chasing trends. That's what they do. But um, Henderson himself said he's like, I have a feeling this might get canceled. Project Rewind, Prince of Persia remake. Project Altera, which is an Animal Crossing type game. Um, Project Crest, which is a World War II extraction shooter. And then
Oh,
Project Beyond Good and Evil 2. still happening, and it says that in theory, within the next 2 years.
That would be crazy. That'd be crazy. Um, sure. There's a lot of stuff in there though. That was a lot of
Yeah, and a lot of it is like, oh, of course, stuff's gonna be on the franchise they own, but
yeah. But yeah, that's a cool. I had not seen that.
mhm.
That's hilarious to me.
Oh, and Black Flag is supposedly is maybe done and supposed to release by the end of this year. The remake for Black
The
Flag.
remake, yeah. Okay.
That's a lot for a company I don't care about that much anymore. But Rayman, the one thing I do care about, is happening, so that's good.
It is happening. They said it officially. Not leaked, but officially. Yeah. So that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
We got Silk Song. We seemingly are getting Metroid Prime 4. We're getting Pragmata. Time for Beyond Good and Evil 2 to step back in.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, Half-Life 3 is right around the corner.
Yeah. Obviously. Last thing I just want to say, before, Silk Song comes out, is it is potentially one of the most hyped games ever to be released. It's going to be a really, really great indie game. Another indie game that could potentially make its way into Game of the Year considerations, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's still,
Year of the Indie.
and to continue the Year of the Indie, there is still another indie game that could put itself in similar Game of the Year contention that's supposed to come out this year called Slay the Spire 2.
Slay the Spire 2.
And that's
and Hades 2 supposed to end EA also this year.
What?
Hades 2 is also supposed to be out of
yes.
too, so
yes, it is coming out this year.
There's like a small chance we go into Jeff Keighley's Game of Wars with Expedition, Blueprints, Silk Song, Hades 2, Slay the Spire 2. It's not likely, but I'm just saying there's a small possibility that those 5 are like.
What else is there though, right now?
Death Stranding 2 for people who are cool.
Because it's Jeff Keighley, maybe.
Yeah, and these are voted on by a lot of people. I know Luce in the chat earlier said Solid Delta. I'm always hesitant.
Lucid has been playing that.
Other than that, I don't know. Bonanza's really good, but I don't think it's Game of the Year good.
Oh, Bonanza is okay. That was another one that that creeps into that category though. That's the one I was thinking of.
I could easily convince myself I like it more by just thinking about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's for as bad as like you look at AAA development is right now, like the indie games are picking up weight in ways they really haven't.
You love to see it.
You absolutely love to see it.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, that's the show. We are gonna continue stream. If you're watching this on YouTube, we stream every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. We stream the show live, and then after we play Game Duel together, the two of us in chat. So if you want to do that, if you see this on YouTube, come by. And that's what we're going to head into now. Going to head into our post-show Game Duel. So yeah, see you next week.
I yield my time.
Yay. There's this thing where like, I never know if I hit the button right, but I did it this time and I know I did it good.